The Astros continue their final tour of the West Coast with a 3-game stop at Angel Stadium in Anaheim. It's a battle of hot clubs and a battle of left-handers. The Stros send Brett Oberholzer against the Halo's C.J. Wilson. Hi, everybody. Alan Ashby and Jeff Blum with you. Julia Morales joins in just a little while. Yesterday, an off day for the ball club. And, of course, the Astros playing really good baseball. Does that slow them down in any way?
I don't think so. I think they needed that day off. You know, they played 2 contending teams here on this road trip, winning 4 series in a row. So heading in here, they could use that day off, especially before some of this heat.
Well, yeah, and the heat is here right now. The Astros have been a hot club pitching-wise. No doubt about that, leading the major leagues in ERA in the month of September.
Well, they have to pitch well. The offense sometimes sputtering a little bit. A lot of emphasis being put on Altuve and Carter. We saw in the Oakland series how they pitched around those guys. So it was a thrust upon guys in that lineup to step up big and back those guys up. But the pitching staff has been doing a great job of keeping guys from scoring, doing a good job of keeping them in games, keeping their poise. And I expect them to continue to do the same thing here, although they're going to be facing a tough Anaheim lineup.
For the Astros, the year did not begin with a whole lot of great offense, or the pitching side for that matter, as we continue to see a little bit on that pitching side. But on the offensive side, the club since May 11th has picked it up considerably.
Well, they have been firing on some cylinders there early on. This record close to 500 if they win one more. And keep in mind, if they win out the rest of the season, they could creep into that 500 range. It's a lot to ask for, but Altuve and Carter adding to those big numbers that the Astros offense is putting up.
The Angels are surging toward the American League playoffs, but it's the Astros that might have momentum this weekend in Anaheim. How can Jose Altuve and Chris Carter shift the balance of power in the American League West toward the Stros? Lineups and first pitch are straight ahead. Number 196 for Jose Altuve.
So now, with less than a month to go, and the Astros single-season hit record within reach, what will Jose Altuve do? What do you think?
When he gets it going, it's just going to happen quickly, one after another.
Say hello to Miguel Tejada. 199 hits on the season for Jose Altuve.
That's number 200.
Welcome back to beautiful Anaheim, California. The Astros and Angels set to kick off a 3-game set in just a few minutes. The Astros trying to go 9-2 in their last 11 games. They've been playing some great baseball lately, and they'll face left-hander C.J. Wilson tonight. Houston hasn't faced any pitcher as many times as they faced C.J. Wilson, who is facing him for the 5th time this year, and his numbers are not very good. 1-2 with an ERA over 8. He's got a couple of guys to thank for that, one being Jose Altuve, the other Chris Carter. But Altuve, who's really gotten to everyone this season, has done well against CJ so far with a 300 average. He's hit 2 home runs off of CJ, just 1 so far this year, but he's played really well against the Angels. And then Chris Carter, who has also done really well against everyone lately, but he has put it to CJ. A couple of home runs off of Wilson. One, so far this year, a couple of runs, but the OPS out of control there, 1,500. Chris Carter has been playing well lately. He obviously loves this ballpark. We like to see what he can do at Angels Stadium, but the question will be tonight, what will C.J. Wilson do as far as adjustments when facing a couple of these guys? And it's not just those two playing well. His entire team has kind of put it together here lately. And for more, and send it to the guys in the booth. Ashton Blum.
Thanks, Julia. And here we are set for game 1 of this 3-game series against the first place Angels. They've been playing terrific baseball. They've won 8 straight. In fact, they took 8 of 10 on a recent road trip, just coming back now, starting the homestand here against the Astros. And the 2 losses they took were the 2 games they stopped in Houston to play a hot Astros team. So a couple of clubs that have been playing good baseball going at it tonight. As C.J. Wilson loosens up, we see Chris Carter and Brett Oberholzer in the dugout. Obi, of course, the starter tonight. So the Astros have a big assignment. Keep it going under Tom Lawless as they just keep winning under the new skip. And the lineup brought to you by Jack in the Box. For the Astros tonight, it'll be Robbie Grossman in the top spot. He's in left field, followed by second baseman Jose Altuve and center fielder Dexter Fowler. Middle 3 in the order. The DH, Chris Carter. Jason Castro does the catching. And Jake Marisnick is in right field. In the bottom 3, featuring Matt Dominguez at third, John Singleton at first. And playing at shortstop once again, Jonathan VR.
On the mound for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, it's going to be C.J. Wilson. He has not fared too well against these Houston Astros. He's allowed at least 5 or more earned runs in each of his last 3 starts against Houston, while pitching fewer than 5 innings in each. And you remember part of that 2-game loss, or 2 games they lost on that road trip were in Houston. C.J. Wilson was a recipient of one of those losses when he went only 3 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 5 earned runs. So look for the Astros to maintain their dominance over C.J. Wilson, make him pitch, make him get the ball elevated in the zone. He's going to throw a lot of them.
So it's C.J. Wilson with that assignment of slowing down the Astros. And, of course, Brett Oberholzer, an assignment of slowing down an Angels club that's won 8 consecutive ball games. Robbie Grossman coming to the plate. We are just about ready to get this thing underway. C.J. Wilson squatting behind the mound, having last moment's preparation. Robbie Grossman, switch hitter, will bat right-handed against the lefty. Robbie's hit in 3 consecutive ball games. We talked about it during the Open. The Astros have pitched great baseball here in the month of September, but they've also been swinging the bats pretty well. Robbie Grossman now the chance to lead it off. Takes a fastball right there for a strike. So we're underway. Robbie hitting .220 on the year. Right at an even 300 at bats. A pretty good sample for Robbie. Ground ball back up the middle. Ibar finds shortstop. Makes a very nice play to start it. Just throwing not much on it, but gliding to his left. Throws accurately.
Jose Altuve coming to the dish. We saw his last game in Seattle put 2 hits on the board. That was number 199 right there, tying himself with Miguel Tejada for the time being. Only 1 at bat later did he decide to go ahead and get number 200 out of the way. But he also did a great job on those base paths, and that's one thing about Altuve. He's not just a threat at the plate. Once he gets on base, he can turn into a nuisance. Right there is number 200. All by himself, with Craig Biggio as the only Astros with 200-plus hits in a single season.
Then you see, of course, Craig Biggio, as Blummer says right there at the top, all the guys he's been passing. And those are some terrific seasons gone now in the rearview mirror for Jose. lashes one foul on that third base side into the dugout to start things.
That moved Mike Scioscia off his perch.
The Astros 8-2 in their last 10 against American League West clubs. Backs Altuve off the plate. What a year. 41 doubles for Jose. He's driven in 51. Plummer mentioned that he's a nuisance when he gets on the bases, to the tune of 52 stolen bases. Doesn't strike out much. It's really amazing when you look at the Astros club and the strikeouts. And of course, they've got some guys that strike out a load. But Jose, who plays basically every day, just 49 strikeouts over the year. He lines one to right field, number 201. Jose Altuve just continues to lead by a landslide now in the major leagues with hits.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of watching Altuve's at bats a little more closely these days. I want him to get up and above Craig Biggio. No offense to Biggio, but just the way this guy's been playing in the season he's having, it's not too often you get to see a guy in his entire career have a season like Altuve's having right now. So a little part of me's cheering for the kid to go out there and get even more hits.
But it's been exciting to watch. And at times a ball club that has had more than their share of struggles. But now the club has turned it on. They're moving to new heights, especially after that 51 win season a year ago. Altuve leading the American League, 201 hits. The next closest is Michael Brantley of the Indians at 176. So we're talking about 25 hits back. The Astros with tonight's game, 16 games to play. So if Jose shut it down right now, that would be a real feat for Brantley to get there. Brantley is followed by Ian Kinsler and Robinson Cano. Some very good names, and that tells you a lot more about the season that is being put up by Jose Altuve. Again, a threat to run. Dexter Fowler swings through one. It's 1-2.
Have you looked at that line for Biggio that year? He got 210 hits.
Not recently.
It's pretty interesting. He ended up with 51 doubles that year, leading the National League. He also had 20 home runs and 88 RBIs. Guess how many stolen bases Biggio had that year?
Well, I'm going to guess 50-ish.
Right on 50.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it makes you really stop and reflect and appreciate what Craig Biggio put up that year.
Absolutely.
Not to mention his entire career.
He had a string of 100, well over 100 runs scored in about 5 or 6 years during that stretch too.
And you're talking runs scored this year for Jose Altuve. He scored 78. Pitch in the dirt, and not even a hesitation from Altuve as he takes off. Likely this will be scored a wild pitch.
If he's watching the flight of the ball, he probably read that ball in the dirt pretty early. That thing bounced well out in front of home plate.
It is a wild pitch. No stolen base. Alertly getting on it, Iannetta. But there's just no play on Altuve.
Actually pretty impressed Iannetta kept that thing in front. That thing was way out in front.
Well, Altuve in scoring position. 2-2 the count on Fowler. And now 3-2. C.J. Wilson is no stranger to the walk. He will walk a load when it's all said and done. By the way, at the start of play tonight, Altuve had a 1-point lead in the batting race over Victor Martinez of the Tigers. 336 to 335. So Jose adds a little space there. One out and 3-2. And Dexter gets a piece. Any thoughts in terms of the base hit by Altuve going to right field? We've seen him pulling a lot of balls. Does this mean anything?
Not really. Might be as a little bit of a comfort zone for him. Pulled those 2 base hits the Wednesday night up in Seattle. Maybe C.J. Wilson's working him a little bit differently, but we know a majority of his hits have been pulled this season compared to last season. But it's just a tribute to what kind of hitter Altuve is. He's not picky. Pitch middle away.
Well, and you can see that clearly is all pitcher's pitch right there. But Altuve centers it up, lines one to right field.
I wonder if C.J. Wilson is thinking maybe he's staying away from Altuve, because Altuve reached out and got him and shot him in Houston.
Here's a line shot to right field, base hit. Altuve had to freeze momentarily. So it'll be runners at first and third on the base hit by Dexter Fowler, and a good arm shown in right field. Cole Calhoun can really throw, and he unleashed this one.
Same thing, fastball out of the plate. Dexter fouled off some tough pitches to get in the situation, and there's that mistake we talked about that C.J. Wilson can't give you. Dexter taking advantage of it.
So still a scoreless ball game. Chris Carter stands in, and he's hit in 9 straight. .36 home runs. He's been stuck there for a while. There goes Fowler. As the throw is not forthcoming, Iannetta simply holds on. It'll be a stolen base for Dexter Fowler.
Love it.
And the Astros have runners at second and third now, and 1 out.
You know what I love about that stolen base is he did it in the first pitch. He went early enough in the count to give plenty of time in Chris Carter's at bat to get a good pitch to drive. You know his numbers against him. But the bad part I was about to get to is what's happening right now in the first inning to Chris Carter, the intentional walk.
How about this? Free pass, intentional from Mike Scioscia. This will load him up.
Julia showed us the numbers. Chris Carter annihilates C.J. Wilson.
See the numbers there on Carter. Since July 1st, we've talked about all the categories he continues to lead in: the home run, slugging, RBIs, OPS. He will add to that a bit with this walk. That'll load him up now for Jason Castro.
Let's take a walk around Angels Stadium here and see who's playing for these Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Colin Cowgill out there in left, Mike Trout in center, Cole Calhoun in right field. Across the infield, you're going to see David Freese at third, Eric Ibar at short, Howie Kendrick at second base, C.J. Cron at first, and back behind the plate, Chris Iannetta.
So big at bat for Jason Castro, lefty versus lefty. From the stretch, Wilson brings it, and Castro right after it. For Castro, a .230 batting average, 14 homers on the year. He's driven in 54. So it hasn't been a total down season, and yet there's the perception with Castro that from last year's All-Star campaign that it has been disappointing. And to a degree, I'm sure Castro would tell you that.
He set that bar high last year, making that All-Star team. And a lot of expectation on the former first-round pick out of Stanford. Still having a solid year for a catcher.
Yeah, way to throw that little dig in there. Well, the 54 RBIs. I mean,
yeah, production-wise.
He's picking up some runs. And again, it's been a nice tandem with Castro and Corcoran. Ball and 2 strikes. But you go back to last year, 18 homers, 56 ribbies, so he's right in that ballpark. Hit 278 a year ago, 276. Crowd here in Anaheim getting behind their halos. A little bit of a disappointing crowd this evening, though. Going to be in the 30s, I'm sure. But these Angels have played great baseball. There's the strikeout of Castro. A key second out now for C.J. Wilson.
Climbing the ladder on Jason Castro, that hole at bat. Swung a couple sliders up there, missed them. Then just chases that one to finish him off. Still not out of the woods with Jake Marisnick up there. And again, look at that pitch count. First inning, get that thing up there against C.J. Wilson. This is what the Astros have done against him to be successful.
With 2 outs, bases remain loaded. Wilson works from the stretch, brings the high heat, and misses apparently above the strike zone. Ron Culpa behind the plate tonight. Lance Barrett down at first. At second, it's Dana DeMuth. And Tom Woodring is at third. Nine RBIs for Marisnick. And a chance to come up with a big swing for the club. 2-0 the count.
Good time to hit.
Some people would probably say good pitch to take, but I think for me it's a great fastball to get and try to put some runs on the board.
It's a good pitch to take if you don't like RBIs.
Agreed. Not up for the big moment. That's a tough pitch and not a bad take there. 2-1. In road games so far this year, Marisnick hitting 156. So he has certainly enjoyed life at home much more. Marisnick getting that chance to play just about every day now. And it's 3-1 and another one of those great opportunities.
Does it ever look to you like C.J. Wilson is just kind of like, just not aiming it, but just kind of wishing it onto a corner?
Oftentimes, and I think that's been one of the big beefs with C.J. Wilson, that he's a little bit timid with the strike zone.
Which is crazy to me because he's got a great fastball, a great slider, even better curveball.
A little cutter there. That'll make it 3-2. He's walked 72, make it with the intentional passive Carter 73. That's the most in the American League. So clearly, I mean, that's what he does. He walks a lot of people. Runners will be in motion on the 3-2. Can Marisnick get one and drive it? Again from the stretch. Runners go. Little tapper back toward the mound. Tough play. And Iannetta cannot make the play. Everybody's safe. Fowler started to come from third base and then was able to stop it. So it'll likely be an infield single driving in the runs first game. 1-0 Houston. The Astros catch a break on that dribbler.
That was interesting. All the way around the swing, kind of got in the kitchen of Jake Marisnick. It almost looked like he was going to check his swing, and then the turf monster comes out and takes a bite out of Iannetta. It's amazing in physics, teaching how the ball can bounce behind home plate and end up in fair territory.
Well, that wasn't the best of swings on a 3-2 with the bases loaded, but it works out. 1-0 Houston brings Matt Dominguez to the plate.
Good look at it. Watch the footwork. It's got to be tough going out there with all the gear on, but ball took kind of a funky hop and just kind of bit. That land shark again.
Word is that Iannetta had been watching some recent footage from Jonathan Villar. Pitch hit in the air down the right field side. Long run for Calhoun into foul territory. He'll make the catch. And that'll do it. The Astros get a run in the first inning and lead 3. We played a half, 1-0 Houston. On the board on a little swing and bunt single by Jake Marisnick to get that run. Now the starting lineup for the LA Angels of Anaheim. Cole Calhoun leads it off. He's in right. In center field, Mike Trout. And the DH, Albert Pujols, follows. Middle three, Howie Kendrick having another nice year. He's the second baseman. At third, getting hot a bit, David Freese. And at short, guy having a good year, Eric Ibar. Bottom three in the order, the catcher Chris Iannetta, C.J. Crones at first base, and Colin Cowgill is playing in left field.
On the mound, it's going to be Brett Oberholzer going for those Houston Astros left-hander, making his 22nd start. 5-10 on the season. It was a rough start to the season, but he's looking here to finish strong. Pitched well in his last outing. Up in Oakland at HOU Stadium, he went 6 1/3, gave up 3 earned runs. Looking to continue that trend against a tough ball club here that's been hot offensively in the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
102 pitches in that last start that Blummer mentions. And 64 of those 102 were strikes. Ball's behind, 1-0. Cole Calhoun is the right fielder.
How about this guy?
Yeah, he's had quite a year, and he's a guy that wants to see a lot of pitches. He'll take strikes, but what he can do is back it up when he's got 2 strikes on him. And that's a big difference from a lot of people who simply take pitches. 16 homers on the year for Calhoun. Driven in 54. Matt Dominguez drawn in third base side, and now it's 1-2 as you see Calhoun do what he does consistently, taking pitches. Jeff mentioned that recent good start for Obi here on the road trip. His previous start against the Texas Rangers, not so good, as he went 4 1/3, allowing 9 hits and 7 earned runs in that one. But on the whole, your overall impression of Obi on the season?
He's good. One of the things that I do like about him that could make him a good big league pitcher in that back end of the rotation is that he doesn't walk a lot of guys. He's never walked over 3 guys in one game. So that tells me he's got good command. He's not afraid of contact.
And down on strikes, Cole Calhoun. That's out number 1. It brings up the center fielder, Mike Trout.
Obi didn't need him on that at bat, but eventually he might. So let's take a look at who's playing behind him. Around the outfield, Robbie Grossman in left, Dexter Fowler in center, Jake Marisnick in right, Domingo at third, Jonathan Villar back out there at shortstop again, playing a little more often. Jose Altuve at second, the hitman, John Singleton at first, and Jason Castro doing the catching.
So 1 out, bases empty for Mike Trout. A lot of people singing the praises of Mike Trout when it comes to talk about the MVP in the American League this year. And yet the batting average has fallen considerably. Another guy who is willing to take some pitches. 32 homers on his year. Right among the leaders, 103 RBIs. He leads in that category. Ooh, that pitch high at the waist.
Good look inside Obi's glove on that strikeout pitch to Calhoun. That's that spiked curveball. Puts a lot of emphasis on that middle finger. Creates that tight downward action.
That ball 1 pitch to Mike Trout is troubling for a lot of people. Right there at the waist, and this one called a strike.
And that's where Mike Trout is susceptible to strikeout. Hasn't done much damage in that upper part of the strike zone. Does most of his damage, especially home run wise, down in the zone.
Mike Trout has turned into a big strikeout guy, and I imagine a great deal of that is a result of taking as many pitches as he does. Fastball is high. In the American League, when you talk strikeouts, Chris Davis leads, and Chris Davis is now done for a while.
25 games to be exact.
Does that extend into postseason play?
Goes 8 games into the postseason, and they can put him on the roster. So after that 8th game, he can be active.
But Mike Trout follows. He is second in terms of most strikeouts in the league. He reaches out and spoils. Chris Carter is right behind Mike Trout. So that's the neighborhood in terms of strikeouts that Mike Trout is living in.
Do you care?
Well, when it's all said and done, I I would have anticipated a higher batting average from Trout. He's at 285, but still terrific numbers. If I just saw that set of numbers, no name attached to it, 285, 32 homers, 103 on the RBIs, 102 runs scored, I'd say, wow, this guy had himself a big-time year.
Got high expectations of the young man.
Yeah, I do, and I think a lot of people do. I would never have guessed that he'd be a 32 home run guy. The Astros saw him walk one off here back on July 4th. Half swing, he goes through. So there's another strikeout from Mike Trout. Second strikeout recorded by Obi here in the first.
Careful what you asked for there, Mike. Watch the check swing. That's that fastball up. He has a tough time. He asked for it, and he got it.
That's close. That bat got right out there to the front of the plate, right in that danger zone. Brings up Albert Pujols. 0 for his last 8. He's the DH for the Angels. Still battled running issues. Good curveball in for a strike. No talk this year whatsoever about that plantar fasciitis that just sidelined Pujols much of last year. Tapper left side. On a second hop, Matt Dominguez throws on the run, and a 1-2-3 first inning. So the Astros, after 1, lead over the Angels 1-0. By Jack in the Box. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And by AT&T UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. Angel Stadium here in Anaheim, California. Home of the LA Angels of Anaheim. 1-0 Astros after 1 inning of play. 8-9-1 coming up for Houston here in the second inning. John Singleton, Jonathan VR, and Grossman at the top. Singleton hitting 175, does have the 13 home runs. And he's produced some offense with the 44 RBIs. Mike Trout in center field, shaded just a bit toward right. The infield swinging that way as well. Strike at the knees, a ball and a strike. New look from John Singleton tonight, huh?
Tightened it up. Usually the barrel-chested John Singleton showing everything off. Got that second, he's creeping up there. Usually those top 2 are undone. He's got that one done now. This could be a big change for John. It's the little things, Ash.
And the little things leave him fouling one off. 2-2 count here in the second. New brain trust has done quite a job.
They're going to take credit for that. Yeah, sure is.
And now 3-2. John Singleton leading off the second inning. And C.J. Wilson again doing what he does. Falls behind a lot of high pitch counts. Takes him out of ball games earlier than the Angels would like. And just slow and away. So it's a leadoff walk. Wilson was not happy with the call.
I wonder what C.J. Wilson's grades were in art class, because he isn't very good at painting right now.
Well, maybe he went art with some different angles there.
Got Picasso out there just going abstract on me.
Could have been pencil. What's that called? When you go artwork, pencil work?
Etch a sketch?
That's what it is. Etch a sketch. Thanks for helping me out there. VR tries to bunt and bunts through it. 0-1 the count. I used to have some notes here on the Astros, but oh, there they are.
You're over him. You just chucked him on the ground.
Big fan got a hold of us.
Huge.
Throw over to first base. That'll drive Singleton back to the bag. And yes, Singleton will run, and we brought up some of his minor league numbers stealing bags, and not all that bad. He's a guy that in the minors liked to run. And so far in the big leagues, not having a lot of success in that area. He has stolen 1 in 4 attempts. Ball and a strike on VR. The game has slowed to a crawl now with C.J. Wilson. And the 1-1. Big swing and a miss.
What'd you do on your off day, Ash?
A little golf was had.
Did you? Did you go play? Where'd you go play at?
No, name of the place I couldn't tell you. But it was certainly warm enough. How about you?
I slept in for a little bit and then hung out with the kids.
Did you let them sleep in, or did they get up early and
go
do all the work that you were supposed to get done?
No, they are on school sleep times, which was a little iffy for Dad, having gotten in at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. That was a bit of a late night coming in.
Got to do some softball practicing, got to do some soccer practicing. Felt normal for a day.
2-2 is fouled back. Isn't that fun to get back in with the kids?
No, we've talked about it plenty of times. I've got the greatest gig in the world. I still have a little bit of normalcy left in my life with the kids, and it's been beautiful.
VR makes sure he's got those batting gloves all ready to go and kicking the dirt out of his shoes. Now gets back in. Just the second inning. The Astros have put 3 hits on the board. They have a run. And now a 3-2 count. So there goes C.J. Wilson once again.
Pretty good job by VR. That's a pitch he swung and missed after strike 2, but recognition allows him to lay off that pitch. Having seen it once already, the fish ain't biting. You're going to move Singleton right here?
I guess that question belongs in your lap. He goes. Strikeout of VR. The throw way offline into center field, but unable to take third base is Singleton, his second stolen base on the year. And so 1 out, a man in scoring position for Robbie Grossman.
I personally would not have sent him. But we know that Lawless, the new manager, likes to get those guys running, and see, man, that almost took the back of the head off of C.J. Wilson. Didn't look like there was any interference on VR's behalf.
No, it looked like he was in a good spot after the strikeout. 1 out. Robbie Grossman grounded to short back in the first inning. I was talking with some of the brain trust yesterday, and it is about green lights and just encouraging guys to be aggressive, to take advantage of green light scenarios.
close, though.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Because it kind of takes on that spring training mentality in September for a little bit when you're on the base paths. In spring training, usually everybody has the green light. You want to see what these guys can do.
Yes. We also want to see what kind of decisions are made.
I think that's the biggest thing with the stolen bases.
And right now, I think for Tom Lawless, he's also trying to go past that. Line drive base hit, Robbie Grossman. Here comes Singleton being waved home. And the throw simply comes back into second base. 2-0 Astros on the Angels and C.J. Wilson.
Second baseman, number 27, HOU AT ANA.
High fives all around for John Singleton, who got it started with the walk.
Just a good piece of hit. Go back up the middle. C.J. Wilson likes to work that out of third. You allow that ball to travel. Throw that head at it. Good piece of hitting. Head down. Beautiful.
We've talked about it last year. Robbie was clearly better from the right side of the plate. This year it's been the other way, so nice to see this right-handed hit. Jose Altuve, the man with 201 hits on his season because of a base hit back in the first inning. He also scored a run in that first. And has a slim margin on that batting race now in the American League. Went through some of the numbers. We'll check those again in just a moment. Jose takes a ball. 1-1 the count.
There's your comparison. Some of those numbers we hit on already. You see those 51 doubles for Biggio. That's what he was. He was a doubles machine. Getting those 210 hits in 160 games. All-star again.
Pitch is drilled foul on the third base side. So 1-2 on Jose.
Also had 50 stolen bases in that year for Craig Biggio. So kind of eerily similar numbers, even though Bigg put up about 20 home runs and drove in 88 that year.
Here are your numbers as current as I can get them. Jose Altuve hitting .337, followed by Victor Martinez of the Tigers at .335. So a 2-point lead is all Jose can brag about, but Altuve continues to sit in that top spot. 2-2 the count. Seven home runs on the year for Jose. He hits one in the air, right field, dropping quickly and in front of the diving Calhoun. Second hit of the night for Jose, 202 on the year. And he's trying to put a little distance between himself and the rest of the league in terms of the batting average, and at the same time give the Astros maybe a chance to put some more runs on the board here in the second inning.
That is some kind of delicious. Just touch it, Jose. When you're hot, you're hot.
Both hits to right field tonight.
Pretty good job by Calhoun to just corral that thing and keep it in front of him. Kind of trapping that.
That was all about everything Calhoun had right there. One out for Dexter Fowler. Fowler had a base hit. One of the 3 Houston hits in the first inning. And now 5 hits on the night for the Astros. The Astros start the night 65-81. 26 games back of these Angels. That's not what the Astros are looking at. They're looking at improvement and putting a hurt on these clubs that have a chance to or will get to the postseason. The Angels among those that will get there. The Angels at 91-55 as a club, and they lead by 10 games over the second place Oakland A's. 11.5 over Seattle. So the Angels, with some very hot play over the last month, have put some big distance between themselves and the other clubs. 0-1 pitch hit in the air right field. Calhoun under it. Tagging at second is Grossman. He'll come to third. Good strong throw, cut off. And so runners at first and third. Calhoun can really throw from right field and gets it down where it can be cut.
Yeah, that's what held Altuve at first base. He went back and tagged when he saw Robbie going back. But recognizing that throw low, held his ground at first base.
We've talked about it so many times with the Astros in their outfield, just launching throws over would-be cutoff men. But this is the way you play it. 2 outs, first and third now for Chris Carter, who was walked intentionally. That by Mike Scioscia in the first inning. That loaded him up. Castro then struck out, and it looked like the Astros could be in trouble, but Jake Marisnick on a 3-2, a little partial swing, hit a dribbler out in front of the plate, and it wound up being a base hit to drive in the only run at that point. Watch this throw from Calhoun in right field.
Keep an eye on the base runners if you can, too. As soon as the ball goes in the air, Robbie Grossman, Altuve checks out and sees what Robbie's doing. And you know Robbie's going to tag up. And as soon as that throw ends up being low, that's when Altuve makes the choice to hold his ground and stay at first base.
And it's critical that outfielders do that. That's outfield 101, not only in the big leagues, but all of pro ball. But so many guys just can't seem to do it.
You could save your team a ton of runs by doing that, too.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, it's been frustrating watching things with Astros outfielders and not hitting cutoff men.
Yeah, there's been some incidents.
Carter on the breaking ball has the count go to 1-2.
I don't know if they're incidents as much as they are blocked punts going over guys' heads.
Those are incidents, aren't they?
Yeah, they're tipped on the kick, and then it just kind of goes flying all over the place.
Yeah, but nobody can take extra bases on those. Not until somebody on the other side touches the ball, and then extra bases get taken in abundance. That 91-55 record by the Angels, the best in all of Major League Baseball. So you're looking at the very best of what baseball has to offer this year in the Angels, and yet they're down 2-0 here in the second inning.
C.J. Wilson working on that pitch count, too. Next pitch will be 57. Inning in 2/3, pretty economical.
Yeah. Carter takes as it's low, and another 3-2 count. Saw an unusual set of signs there from Mike Scioscia, the skipper. I've never seen after the touches, the digits come out with a series of numbers.
He gave him the digit?
No, it was multiple.
Oh, that's good.
It was with the runner going, strikeout of Chris Carter. That'll do it for the Astros in the second inning. They can manage only one more run, lead it 2-0.
Tweet your photos using hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That is brought to you by AT&T. The guys mentioned it on the top of the broadcast tonight, asking if If the day off would slow things down with a team that's playing so well. Tom Lawless spoke to this earlier to the media, saying that at this point of the season, that day off is really good. He's got a lot of guys in there that do not want to rest. They want to keep playing, and their bodies might be tired. They're just not telling me, so it's good to have a nice day off in there to keep them fresh, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. And it's always that tough juggle. Do you really want the day off right now while you're playing well, or would you rather keep it going? It doesn't seem to have affected negatively anyway, Jose Altuve. 0-2 the count. We're in the second inning. Howie Kendrick, the second baseman, and fine one for the Angels, stands in. 8-game hitting streak. Kendrick putting together a very nice year for the Halos, hitting .290. Like Altuve, one of those guys that can hit it all over the field. A lot of hits go to right field for Kendrick. 67 ribbies to go with 7 home runs on the year.
These days you can almost tell where a guy's hitting the ball by the defense alignment. Right now it's pretty straight up. No, he sprays the ball all over the place, but a majority of his hits going to that right field side.
Yeah, when you talk about balls up the middle, it really comes down to the pitcher needing to be the guy that can play a little defense out there. 2-2 the count. Oberholzer had a 1-2-3 first inning, striking out a pair. And gets a strikeout here to start the second.
Change up. Hey, go Angles. Got some mathematicians out here cheering for some angles going on. Ouch, it's only written right here. Can't correlate between here and there.
Well, I think it gets confusing though when you go between Los Angeles and the Angels, and I think
the Los Angles of Los Angeles.
Yeah, that one. David Freese stands in.
Oh,
well, he's come a long way since the Astros last saw the Angels out west. Strike at the knees. Ball and a strike. Freese had just come off the DL, but came in late in a ball game and got his bat hot. It's one deep to left field. Going back toward the corner is Robbie Grossman as he hauls it in. Out number 2 here in the second inning. A nice jump by Robbie Grossman in left.
Number 2,
I'll bring up Eric Ibar. The Astros pitching, and we talked about how they've done so well here in the month of September. On the course of the season, it hasn't mattered to them at all whether they've been at home or on the road. ERA eerily close, 4.24 at home, 4.23 on the road. Fly ball, center field. Dexter Fowler a few steps to his left. Makes the catch in a 1-2-3 second inning. 6 in a row retired by Brett Oberholzer. 2-0 Houston.
Come celebrate Fiesta's Patria Street Fest, presented by United Airlines on Saturday, September 20th, outside of Minute Maid Park for live music, food, and fun for all ages. The Street Fest is open to all fans and will be on Crawford Street beginning at 3 p.m. before the Astros and Mariners play at 6:10. Guys.
Thank you, Julia. Back in Anaheim, and the fans having a good time in between innings. The Astros having a good time, leading 2-0 here as we go to the third. It'll be Jason Castro, Jake Marisnick, and Matt Dominguez. Left-hander C.J. Wilson on the hill for the Angels has scuffled through his first 2 innings and yet has given up just 1 run in each of those frames. The Astros are 8-2 in their last 10, 14-8 over the last 22 games. Wilson starts the inning with a strike. The Astros have played nearly 500 baseball for over 4 months now. Date that back to May 11th. 54 and 55 in that span. So yes, it was a terrible start to the season, and yet the club has really gotten it turned around. And what, Blummer, you just kind of an overall job done, pitching, hitting, whatever it may be.
I was just going to say,
Castro caught looking.
I think for me, I mean, for lack of, it's just been good team baseball. I mean, yes, you have Altuve and Carter on there that are doing just incredible things on their season, but the pitching staff as a whole has been absolutely incredible, keeping these guys in games, much to the benefit of the bullpen by going deeper into these games. But it's been good pitching, defense, and some timely hitting every now and then. But overall, it's just an incredible group effort.
And yet you look at the stats as compared with the rest of the league, and offensive numbers have been, well, they've been improving. They've been moving more toward the center of the league in terms of runs scored and some of the other key categories.
Did you mention that George Springer's been out for how long?
And isn't that something? Put
him into that mix and then maybe turn John Singleton into a 250 type hitter, and my gosh, you got a decent offense that's going to go out there and threaten some people.
So we saw what George Springer can do. We saw both sides of the ledger for George. What are you looking for as you head toward next year?
As far as
George Springer goes?
Healthy. That's it.
Well, so he's healthy. Having seen what he can do as the base hit is lined into left field, Jake Marisnick 2 for 2 on the night, had an RBI infield single in the first inning. So again,
I'm not sure what you're asking. I want him to go out and hit bombs. Do what he did when he was here.
Okay, so, and I was asking
he's going to produce.
What you're anticipating with George Springer come next year. Is that solid base hit?
I anticipate his talent being used by the Houston Astros in their everyday lineup.
Well, okay.
I mean, if you're looking for specifics, he's going to be a 20-plus home run guy, easy.
There we go.
I think that's pretty obvious considering he's done it in maybe, 200 at-bats, 280 at-bats. You double those numbers, that turns into 40 on a full season.
So now we're getting there. Are we anticipating a guy that might hit 40 home runs?
Yeah.
Matt Dominguez 0 for 1 on the night. Fly to right field in the first. Yeah, I just was curious where you thought things might go for George Springer next year, assuming he stays healthy. And I imagine we'll still see a lot of strikeouts. We'll see a lot of home runs. Might he steal more bags like he did in the minor leagues? Might he be that guy in the outfield that we saw some of the most spectacular defensive plays from this year? Fly ball right field. Moving toward the line is Calhoun. And the second out here in the inning.
First baseman, number 28, John Singleton.
Got to bring up John Singleton. Sixth start on the year for Wilson against the Astros. And, well, those numbers are ones you don't want to have a lot of people see. Runner goes. The pitch, a strike. Throw down on a hop and not in time. Jake Marisnick, who's 2 for 2 and has driven in a run, now steals a bag. For Marisnick, his 3rd bag in 4 tries.
It's good to see. That was one of the question marks we had about Jake Marisnick. We know he has the speed. How is he going to use it on those base paths? And we talked about how everybody might have the green light here in September for the Astros. He's taking advantage of it.
So Marisnick in scoring position. Singleton with an 0-1 count. Big John drew a walk and scored. Now drives one deep right center. Going back, Calhoun. At the track, he'll make the catch. So Singleton flies out deep to right center. That'll do it for Houston. They get a hit and leave a man. Upcoming schedule presented by Progressive. 2 more with the Angels coming up. And then the end of this 9-game, 10-day road trip back home. Final homestand of the year. 4 with the Indians coming in. Seattle comes in for 3, and that's going to do it for the home schedule on the year before the Astros head back out for 6 more games as they'll go up to Arlington and on to New York to play the Mets and close out the 2014 season. Bottom 3 in the order for the Angels here as we're in the 3rd inning. 6 in a row retired by Brett Oberholzer. Ianetta's done a nice job. And Obi painting the outside edge. 0-1 the count. The 91-55 record for the Angels ties an Angels best mark through 146 games. Good changeup. It's 1-2. And yet the Angels, Blummer, started the year as kind of a struggling ball club. What exactly got them straightened out and pointed skyward?
Bullpen and a healthy offense.
2-2.
I think they already had the starting pitching. It was just the offense trying to click. There's a lot of question marks around Josh Hamilton. He got hurt early on, went on the DL, but Albert Pujols, having him healthy in that lineup has been huge. And you're getting major production out of your shortstop and second baseman, too.
Ground ball left side with a shift on. Villar's throw from the hole, and he gets his man. Out number 1 here in the 3rd inning. Iannetta retired. It'll bring up Crawl, the first baseman.
A little bit of a shift on. They were pinching that 5.5 hole pretty good. Some pretty good footwork. Kind of played that one in front of him. Made sure he knows he's got time with that runner Iannetta going down first base.
Yeah, that's a big key. And playing it intelligently is what I would say there by VR. C.J. Cron at the plate.
I think Cole Calhoun for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim needs to get a little bit of credit being that igniting force on the top of that lineup.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he's been maybe overlooked a bit, but tremendous. Fly ball to left field, moving to his left, Grossman. And 2 outs here in the inning.
Get your running shoes out and join us for the Badges and Bases 10K, 5K run on Saturday the 27th at Minute Maid Park. Presented by the Astros and Houston Police Foundations. There's also a kids fun run for ages 12 and under. Participants will receive a commemorative t-shirt. Register at astros.com/race. What the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim have done in the last 8 games.
Well, I know they've won 8 straight.
They have scored 70 runs, which is 8.8 per game. They've got 101 hits in 8 games. Total bases, 166. It's not bad.
So the offense has been clicking.
Give you an idea what Obi's doing.
8 in a row retired here to start the night. 0-2 the count on the 9-hitter.
It's a great pitch for him to get that up and in. It kind of stands the hitter up, and they think it's a ball. It ends up being called a strike, and they got to start protecting that up and in corner. And you throw that change up. It's some tough plate coverage.
For me, that's a fair strike. I wouldn't go any higher than that, but I'm sure a lot of hitters would say that's a little too high for them. Oh, and 2 the count. Colin Cowgill at the plate. Cowgill's hit in 3 straight. With the 91 wins, it's the 11th time in club history for the Angels that they've won at least 90 games on a season. The 8-game winning streak, their season high. And a 1-2 count. The Angels looking for their first 9-game winning streak since August of 2004, so it's been a while. We are talking just beyond 10 years ago. It is not easy to string together those long winning streaks in Major League Baseball. Just inside as Obi breaks out the paintbrush.
Thought you had him too.
Yeah.
Well, Castro really didn't move much, did he?
No, he didn't. And he held it right there. 2-2 count. Change got him. Boy, that changeup is huge. 4 strikeouts for Brett Oberholzer. He's gone through the first 9 hitters without a base runner. 2-0 Houston.
2-0 Astros. And our Geico quote of the day comes from Tom Lawless talking about Jose Altuve. It's a conversation they had before he got that 200th hit. I asked him if he needed a day off. He said, no, I want to keep playing. That's who he is. He's going to play. He's going to battle, and he's going to do the things he's done all year. Guys, I asked Tom Lawless today if there's going to be any more conversations like this with Altuve. You're just going to let him play, and he said the ball is in. No, I want to keep playing. That's who he is. He's going to play. He's going to battle, and he's going to do the things he's done all year. Guys, I asked Tom Lawless today if there's going to be any more conversations like this with Altuve. You're just going to let him play, and he said the ball is in his court. He understands he's having a special year. So, Altuve, if you need a day off, make sure you just come and tell me.
Thanks, Julia. And what are you to do if you're a new interim manager and you've got the leading hitter in the American League and leading hitter around baseball this year? Just a tremendous year. I think you just have to go to the guy and find out what he wants.
I'm not giving him a day off.
No.
You got 200 plus hits. I'm writing you in. It's going to be in pen too. You're going to have to thoroughly convince me you don't belong in that lineup.
And Altuve 2 for 2 on his night as he starts things here in Anaheim. Had a slow start to that Seattle series and then got it going in game 3. Where this is a guy that if you go back and look at his game log going way back when he jumped over the 330 mark as a hitter, he has not dipped under. He has stayed above that 330 mark. And we're talking about, I'm not looking at it right now, but I want to say a couple of months now for Jose.
I think it was after the month of April. He hit 275 in April, and after that it was just game on.
Here in the 4th inning, Jonathan Villar leads it off, followed by Robbie Grossman and Jose Altuve. And out number 1. Second time Villar has gone down on strikes. C.J. Wilson has picked up 5 on his night, but trailing 2-0.
A little bit of a slider. Breaking down and in. You have to struggle. You try and go out and hit that pitch a little too soon instead of holding your ground, letting that ball travel, and maybe spitting on that pitch instead of trying to go get it.
As I have it, and as Robbie Grossman stands in, Robbie's 1 for 2 with an RBI single. Fouls one on the first base side. Back on Jose Altuve, it was June 19th when he jumped over the 330 mark on his season. He went to 331 with that ball game. He went 2 for 4. And by the way, he's had 59 multi-hit games. June 19th, and since then he has not dipped below 330. 1-2 the count.
It's pretty cool.
I think it's astounding. He's gotten as high as 344, but again has not dipped below 330. Two and 2 the count. 1 out here in the 4th inning. Final 3 meetings on the year between these two ball clubs. Angels have won 10 of the first 16. Last year the Astros won the season series 10-9. If they were to sweep this series, it would be a reversal of those numbers, but it would be quite impressive again against Major League Baseball's best team in terms of record. Robbie stays alive. It's 3-2. In the month of September, back on Jose Altuve, he has not dipped below 336. At the end of any given night, ground ball to short. Ibar with the play, and the tag is applied at first base by Crone, at least in the estimation of the first base umpire, Lance Barrett. I don't think
he tagged him.
I don't think Tarek Brock and Robbie Grossman think he tagged him.
That's just our initial thought from up here. We actually have pretty good seats here at Los Angeles Angels Anaheim Stadium in Orange County-ish. And I thought he missed him. I mean, it's a tough angle for that first base umpire who's a little bit behind the bag, but from our angle behind home plate, I thought he missed him on the swipe tag. And that was kind of funny. As you're looking down there, I saw Adam Everett immediately spring to his feet and head to the phone. I'm sure that's what they're looking at right now.
Tom Lawless started back toward the dugout, and then apparently as he did so, he got word that it might be worth reviewing this one. So he turned right back around, got the attention of Lance Barrett, that first base umpire, and they're going to review it. I'm not sure that you can see any lack of a tag with that one. What do you think?
It's tough for me to tell. Your monitor's a little bit better. Here we go. Get a good view at it. Nope.
Yeah, from that one, if you take that view, I think you have to call him safe.
That's the one.
And the folks in New York reviewing this play should have that view. It all comes with one out here in the fourth inning. It's Adam Everett along with Tom Lawless. And it is a safe call. So the review has a positive effect for the Astros. Robbie Grossman is safe now on this play. And just not a good throw from Ibar, the shortstop, who likely will be charged with an error.
That's a great angle, a great shot right there. We've seen two of them now, and that was pretty good. I believe they said that was the second conclusive angle that they went with to confirm, to overturn the call.
It has been ruled an error. Ibar charged with the game's first error. And I think for Tom Lawless, that's his first use of the review play, is it not?
I say he had one back in Minute Maid Park, but I could be completely wrong.
And you would know I was not a part of those two games that you worked with, Brownie.
Yeah, that's one section on my scorecard I failed to fill in. I don't know if there's even a spot for the replays.
He has made one challenge prior to this one.
When was it? They don't give you that?
Oh, let's see. You know what? He has not. I was reading the wrong line. So as far as what I have, this is the first. Yeah, I thought maybe you had nailed it, but apparently all nailing will be done once you get back home.
Ain't that the truth?
Jose Altuve 2 for 2 on the night. Batting average at .338. That batting race, it's gotten a little uncomfortable. But if Jose can get one of those hot streaks going like we've seen so many times and put some distance between him and Victor Martinez or whoever the challenger might be. Really nice to watch now in the final 16 games. Fly ball right field side. This is going to erase the perfect night. Out number 2. Altuve flies to right. It brings up Dexter Fowler.
Center fielder, number 21, Dexter Fowler.
What does it look like or feel like when you have 202 hits and pop one up?
I feel like you should be getting hit every time. That's okay. I'm okay with that. You got to be greedy in this game. If you're content just getting your one hit a night, you're not going to last very long. It's those guys like him that want to go out there and get a hit every AB and grind out those at-bats. Those are the guys that have success.
Well, you watch his at-bats, and he's just on the pitches so steadily. You pitch him away, he takes a right field hack. You pitch him in, he takes a left field hack. Everything just seems to blend with the way he's pitched.
And for whatever reason tonight, he's making a concerted effort of going to that right field side.
The 2 base hits for Altuve, 2 right field tonight. Runner goes, Grossman with the slide, and is in there. Another stolen base for the Astros. Their second on the night. Make that number 3. Fowler Marisnick and now Robbie Grossman all with stolen bases.
And this isn't typically a matchup that you'd think they'd go out and try and run on. A left-handed pitcher on the mound, and C.J. Wilson and Chris Iannetta, a pretty good catcher behind home plate, but they're picking their spots and they're taking advantage of it right now.
It's not the snappiest of tags right there from Howie Kendrick.
Right now, Robbie Grossman's untaggable.
So again, 3 stolen bases for the club tonight. The Astros continue to run well. Second best in the American League in terms of stolen bases as a club. The 3 give them 106 on the year. And they've been caught just 30 times. Line drive down the right field side, dropping for a hit. Grossman will score. Heading for second, Fowler. RBI double with 2 outs and 3-0 Houston.
This is just what the Astros do to C.J. Wilson. Just grind him out. He does not want to pitch to contact. He's working on the edges. The Astros continue to take pitches off those edges until they get a good pitch up in the zone. But what a lot of these guys are doing is really staying up the middle and going to the right side of the field today with a lot of these base hits. So I wonder if there's something they saw in the tape that told him he might be working on that side. But whatever it is, the game plan is working.
That stolen base by Robbie Grossman, by the way, his 7th on the year, and now they're going to walk Carter intentionally again. So Mike Scioscia has been checking out the box scores around Major League Baseball, and in particular the Astros, as he's not going to let Chris Carter beat him.
No, he's got the numbers that Chris has put up against C.J. Wilson. They're in all the stat packs that are going around, and they are large numbers, much like that man at home plate. He does not want to let Chris Carter beat him.
So Carter heads down. Second time he has been intentionally passed tonight. Runners at first and second for Jason Castro.
Hence the reason I picked Chris Carter against C.J. Wilson, and it's not going so good. I mean, he's got a couple of intentional walks and a strikeout, but your boy Jake Marisnick is doing it.
I'm not sure what I was watching, what I was thinking, or anything else you want to throw into that category, but Jake Marisnick making me look awfully good.
I was going to say, you had a real chance to really pump him up and tell him how much you appreciated his game before you did that.
Right-hander Vinny Restano now throwing in the pen for the Angels as the meeting takes place on the hill. The pitching coach out there. That's Mike Butcher for the Angels. 3-0 Houston. Angels have got to be thinking to themselves, not sure it's the Astros we want to face in any scenario. Again, they've won 10 of 16 against Houston this year, but those last 2 games in Houston, the only losses over the last 14 games for the Angels. In fact, make that over the last 16 games. They are 14-2 in those 2 losses coming at the hands of the Astros. Castro with a 1-1 count. Jason has struck out twice tonight. Wilson has 5 punch-outs, but he's allowed 7 hits to go with those 3 runs. C.J. Wilson, just a struggle right from the start. The Astros with a run in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 more here in this 4th inning. 2 more games in the series. Scott Feldman goes tomorrow night. 8:05 start. Feldman against right-hander Jared Weaver, who has been great for the Halos. 2-2 the count now on Castro. Weaver, one of the 16-game winners in the American League. And then Sunday's game, a day game, 2:35 start. Dallas Keuchel opposes Hector Santiago, another left-hander. And that's going to do it for the season series between these 2 clubs. 2-2 on Castro. Pitch hit in the air to right field, hanging up though. As able to make the play is Calhoun. That'll do it for Houston, but they get a run in the fourth and lead 3-zip.
Astros 3, Angels nothing. The Mayweather Maidana rematch is live on pay-per-view September 13th. And to celebrate, CSN is giving away a boxing glove autographed by both fighters. Tweet at CSN Houston, hashtag Fight Talk Sweeps for your chance to win. He's not your Donna.
No,
he's my Donna.
He told me a while ago that he was my Donna.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that you've got that right, but we'll recheck that one. Top of the order now for the Angels. They've sent 9 to the plate over 3 innings, and all 9 have been retired. 4 strikeouts for Oberholzer. So he goes through this order now for a second time. 3-0 Houston. All 7 hits picked up by the Astros. Old Calhoun at the plate, and he takes a strike. It is what he does. He struck out in the first inning. Be followed by Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. So Oberholzer doing what he needs to do when he's got one of these guys that is going to take and take and take, and there's strike 2. So it's 0-2. Calhoun now will take a lengthy walk. Don't know why that's acceptable. Oh, and 2 the count. Obi with a long look, and now that creates a timeout.
Please hold.
How long's your drive from home here to the ballpark?
Getting here is not fun, but this evening it should be a calm, maybe 27, 28 minutes.
Ugly traffic on the way in.
It was pretty gnarly on a Friday night, Friday afternoon, I guess.
But you've got Saturday, Sunday coming up, so yeah, that's all the better.
Yeah, these weekends are okay.
1-2 the count now on Calhoun. And a bit high.
It's a good view of the changeup and the release point on that changeup. It was last inning against Colin Cowgill after we talked about a couple of those fastballs on the inner half, up and in.
Slider taken, and now 3-2. So Obi got in front 0-2, and now it's 3-2. This is Cole Calhoun having one of his at bats. Walked just 34 times though, in 439 at bats on the season. Hits one sharply and past Singleton. 3-2 single. That's the first base runner, first base hit for the Angels. It comes leading off here in the 4th inning.
And this will be the real test for Brett Overholtzer. This is the second go-around against these Anaheim Angels. So they've got a second look at him. Maybe they make the adjustment in game, but a good AB by Calhoun to get to that 3-2 count, force Obi to throw a strike, and he turned on it. So that change-up grip again.
Leaves it up, and that gives Calhoun a little bit of a shot to be able to see it and get the barrel on it. He's at first. Mike Trout at the plate. Another strikeout victim in the first inning. He takes a strike. #103 RBIs for Mike Trout. 32 home runs. He runs so well that I would have thought just with infield singles alone he'd hit 250. But that hasn't been the style this year. Power game.
Yeah, trying to drive that ball.
And 0-2 the count. So like Calhoun, Mike Trout has, at least for a lot of his at-bats, become a guy that just takes a lot of pitches. He, unlike Calhoun, has walked 75 times this year. Oh, 0-2 pitch. Mike Trout, in some circles, becoming the face of Major League Baseball.
That's a big circle.
Yep.
I think he deserves it, too, the way he's been playing. Next RBI will be his 300th of his career.
It's just his 4th year in the big leagues, but it has been a phenomenal career. And even with that batting average that starts the night at 285, Trout lifetime is a 305 hitter. And that's part of what I was referring to back in the first inning. To me, Mike Trout is a guy I thought would hit 300 in a sleepwalk. Hit 30 home runs in that huge rookie campaign. Loops one into right center field. This is going to drop and split the outfielders. Extra bases. Fowler gets it back in, but here comes Calhoun to the plate. It'll be an RBI double for Trout, and the Angels get on the board 3-1 here in the 4th.
It's a tough pitch on the inner third. Slow breaking ball down and in, but you're going to get a chance to see how well Mike Trout pulled those hands inside and forced that ball to go into that right center field gap. It's a great piece of hitting. Probably hit a little bit further than Jake Marisnick thought. You see him pull his hands and really get inside that pitch. I thought the route that Jake Marisnick took was a little iffy, and it got by him, allowing that double to happen. What it really did was allow Cole Calhoun to get around to home.
Well, that was not an easy ball to take off on from first base. Albert Pujols at the plate, grounded to third in the first. He takes a strike, very well spotted. Pujols hitting 275. That's 104 RBIs now for Mike Trout.
And that would be his 300th on his career in the RBI category for the youngster.
Waving on that pitch. Pujols 0-2 the count. Pujols 35 doubles, 26 bombs. He's had a big year driving in runs, 92 of them. Got a great chance to get to 100 once again. 2012, the last year that saw him drive in at least 100.
It's 37th all-time in RBIs.
Quite a career.
Good grief, yeah. And plenty left. At least contractually.
Yes. I'm sure the Angels are keenly aware of that fact. It is year 3 of a 10-year deal that Pujols signed with the Angels. And that goes through 2021. The 1-2. In 2021, Albert Pujols will make $30 million. And now I'll take my pinky finger off the corner of my lip.
That'll give you something to chew on.
Apparently. Contract that's heavily backloaded. Finds him making a mere $23 million this year. Still no easy out in the big leagues, but again, year 4 of that 10-year deal.
Good look at those career numbers for Albert Pujols.
Last year saw Pujols play just 99 games. He gets a piece. You know, watching Mike Trout at second base, he is statistically nowhere near that base stealer that he looked like he would be in the first year or so. You know, Albert Pujols is a 3-time MVP, and he's also finished second 2 other times in the MVP balloting. He's finished 3rd, 5th, and on and on. And that's the type of career you're talking about with Albert Pujols. What were the teams you played on that played against Pujols? Was he the guy that you guys always said, don't let this guy beat you?
And he still did.
Still found a way.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't stand him.
3-2 the count.
Yeah, there was one year where our pitchers decided to take the approach of trying to blow him up and stay inside on him. Oh, my gosh.
Didn't work so well?
Well, I had my track shoes on, and I had to wear steel-plated chest protectors because he was hitting rockets down to third base. Some got through, most didn't.
6 times he's hit over 40 home runs.
He's hit 25-plus home runs every year he's played or something like that.
Outside of last year when he hit 17. But again, just 99 games played last year.
Yeah.
Plantar fasciitis just did him in.
He's not a big fan of fascism.
Apparently that's true. Have to look that one up. 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Pujols caught looking. And he did not like the call. And he slams his bat in disgust. And he'll be charged for that slamming. First out here in the inning.
That was just a pitcher's pitch right there by Brett Oberholzer. That was a good battle, but down and in, and the new strike zone that we've seen in recent months, I guess, is that, you know, down is in. And it's going to get called.
Well, I think if Pujols saw any other hitter at the plate take that and get it called, he'd probably say, too close to take. But as Brent Strom now talks things over, when you have yourself at the plate, it sometimes doesn't feel that way.
I thought it was a good pitch.
I did too.
Especially considering some of the pitches we've seen over the course of the year that are down in the zone. That was just a great pitcher's pitch on a 3-2 count. Just took a chance. I guarantee you Albert was looking out over the plate, but this is just paint job on that inside corner down.
No chirping over there from Mike Scioscia, it didn't appear. One out for Howie Kendrick.
Yeah, Scioscia picks his spots. He's got his guys' backs, but he knows when to go after the umpires.
Fly ball center field and deep, going back is Fowler. He's there to make the play. Tagging and moving to third is Mike Trout. So 2 outs, a runner at third, and now the ball is kicked by Villar, and here comes Trout, and he will score.
That can't happen. But it did, and that's a part of the growing pains of the Houston Astros. The credit Mike Trout tagging up on this. You might be able to see it. He breaks it down, but he makes a little bit of a turn, peaking. And with his speed, it doesn't take much to allow him to get home.
Didn't really get a peek right there as to what happened with VR. What I did see, though, was that Dexter Fowler just lobbed one back toward VR. Didn't put anything on it. Error charge to Jonathan VR on that play, so that provides the run. And now a one-run game, 3-2 here in the fourth inning. And as Blummer said, that cannot happen.
You're beating the AL West leading team in their ballpark. The last thing you want to do is give them an extra out, an extra base runner. But in this case, an error turned into an extra run.
There are moments, and it happens with VR, and maybe Dexter Fowler on this play, where it just looks like that intensity, that urgency gets lost.
For me, it's not an urgency. It's just it's crispness. It's just being fundamentally sound.
You know what? I would rule that an E8 and not an E6. That's me talking. Ground ball to third, slowly hit. Matt Dominguez on the run. And just does get him. Very close play. Bang, bang as Freeze is thrown out, 5-3. That'll do it for the Angels in the fourth inning as they get a pair of runs, one of those unearned. It's 3-2 Astros after 4.
Ready? Ice cream! All right.
The Indians at 7:10 p.m. and scarf down some dollar dogs for the last time this season. Jake Marisnick will see first here in the fifth, and got a chance to catch up with the California boy, guys. He's from Riverside, went to Riverside Poly High School, about 30 miles, he said, from here. Has about 20 friends and family, lots of high school friends here tonight. He actually grew up coming to this ballpark. His favorite player, Tim Salmon, guys.
Thanks, Julia. And he's 2 for 2 tonight. He's driven in a run. He's stolen a bag. Playing very, very well.
It's a good idea as a baseball fan here in Anaheim to like a baseball player named after a fish. These guys have had pretty good careers. Salmon was a great ball player.
Ground ball up the middle, but gliding to his left to make the play. Ibar now number 1. So C.J. Wilson gets Jake Marisnick. Wilson nearing 100 pitches already on his night. Here's that play that we saw last inning on which Mike Trout was able to score from second base.
Now keep in mind, Dexter Fowler's almost on the warning track for me, and VR is not that far off that back edge of the infield grass for me. And I know as a middle infielder, you've got to turn the throw into a good throw. You don't want to try and pick up that in-between hop. You either got to go get it on the short hop or catch it in the air or move back a little bit and catch that thing on the long hop. That's my personal. I want to I'm a little more accountable on my end as a middle infielder to make sure that that does not happen with a runner going into third. So I'm okay with the E6.
And Jeff Blum has clearly the better understanding of that play. But it also was not a good throw at all by Dexter Fowler.
Well, in a perfect world, yeah, you'd have a guy get back, get underneath the ball, make a nice strong throw into the cutoff man that hits him in the chest, and we've got no problems. That's the initial start of it. But still, as a middle infielder, it's my job to make sure that those things don't happen.
Matt Dominguez caught looking. Second out in the inning. That's 6 strikeouts now for C.J. Wilson, who very likely could be done with his night at the end of this inning.
The pitch count here, 4 2/3 inning at 101 pitches. I believe Roth and Bedrosian are down there getting loose for the Angels.
One more look at that play from Fowler to VR.
You know, and you'd like to see, that's the in-between hop. He played that into an in-between hop, whereas if he takes a step back towards the infield, he gets that throw on a longer hop, he handles it, doesn't juggle it, or if he just charges out there and gets it before it bounces. He's got a good enough arm. And as long as, and what third base coaches are looking for, they're looking for that ball to be secure. If the ball's not secure out there by the cutoff man, they're going to wave that guy in.
Oh, that's close. 0-2 on that pitch. Singleton gets away with it somehow.
Albert Pujols is not going to be happy to watch this replay.
Well, this is a clearly higher pitch than Albert was rung up on. And I would assume it was called outside. Singleton has walked and flied out.
You know, he threw 58 pitches in the first 2 innings.
That's all?
That was some effort.
It felt like a lot of pitches. Just 3-2 counts and tremendous effort going in to try to just get through an inning. 2-2 the count on Singleton. And now 3-2. Jonathan VR, the 9-hitter, waits on deck. Fifth inning, a 3-2 Astros lead. Breaking ball hit on the ground to second. On a knee, Kendrick to make the play, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 fifth inning for C.J. Wilson. 3-2 Houston. try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And by AT&T U-verse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. First pitch of the inning, curveball in for a strike. We're in the bottom of the fifth. Runs in the first, second, and fourth innings. The Angels with 2 in the fourth. And a base hit shot up the first base side out of the reach of John Singleton. Leadoff single, Ibar. He's aboard for Chris Iannetta. Ibar 1 for 2 on the night for the Angels. Just their third hit, and yet they're just down a run. Catcher Chris Iannetta at the plate, grounded to short in the third inning.
Good guy to double up.
Good changeup for a strike.
2 games back in Minute Maid Park, Chris Iannetta got a steady diet of off-speed pitches early in the count.
Singleton, the only infielder on the right-hand side with the shift on. It's a ball and a strike. So you've got the right side wide open and yet working away here on Iannetta.
Altuve heard you.
Altuve shifting a bit to move a step or two on that first base side of second. I think he's got his own drummer that he listens to, Jose Altuve, and he's a pretty good drummer. 1-1 pitch. There they come trying to work inside. It's 2-1. Iannetta hitting .257. 65 pitches for Obi. And now and count even at 2-2. Right-hander Mike Moore throwing in the pen for the Angels appears to be the guy that will come in the next half inning. Two and 2 the count. And now 3-2. Well, all of a sudden, the focus shifted to working the inside corner, and calls are not there to be had. There's Morin. See how the Angels play this. Ibar at first. Runs okay, held on by Singleton. Does not go. And a shot through the right side, a base hit. Just inside outing it. Iannetta with that wide open right side. And the Angels take advantage. Back-to-back hits. Nobody out with runners at first and second for C.J. Cron.
Pretty good piece of hitting. You could see Castro. He's set up on that inside corner. Iannetta doing a great job of letting that ball travel and doing what Mike Trout did. Just pulling those hands way inside and allowing that barrel to shoot that ball the other way, and taking advantage of that wide open space.
I don't think it's debatable as to whether or not Iannetta was shooting toward right field right there. Just
well, and with a 2-strike count, that's a great piece of hitting. But I'm with you. I know that he was, in his mind, he was set going that way.
First baseman C.J. Cron at the plate. 10 homers on his year. Pops it up, but that'll be back in the seats on the left side.
Talked about this offense earlier, and this is the second go-around for Brett Oberholzer, but you can see what the Holy Rollers have done in their last road trip. They hit 298, 11 home runs in those 10 games. But the runs per game, are you kidding me? Almost 7.5? That's an offense getting it done and making a strong push to the playoffs.
Yeah, whether you do it by pitching or by offense, in the end it doesn't matter. You just have to outscore your opposition. Taking a shot toward right field was Crone, and it's an 0-2 count. Looks like a pretty smart bunch of hitters right now with the Angels. If they are presented with an opportunity to find a big hole, it looks like they're willing to take it. Strike 3 called inside edge. And so this time Oberholzer gets the call on the inside corner. Out number 1 here in the 5th inning. 6 strikeouts for Obi.
Great placement. Seen a couple calls up and in on some of these Angels hitters. They don't enjoy it, but when Oberholzer can get on that inside edge, that's a great bonus to him. And right now he's working well with Ron Kolpa on getting calls on that inside corner, which benefits him because if he doesn't get the call in there, but he's getting the calls now, so hitters have got to protect against that. So that opens up that outside corner to the changeup or a fastball away.
With 1 out, the 9-hitter, Colin Cowgill at the plate. Josh Hamilton has been ailing with a sore shoulder, and so it's forced the Angels to utilize their 4th outfielder. In this case, it is Cowgill, although they employ a righty-lefty combo in right field. Jake Buchanan now getting loose in the Astros pen.
I believe it's Jorge De Leon.
Oh, excuse me. I gotcha. Fly ball deep right center field. Long run Marisnick. He calls and drops it. Coming to the plate and scoring the tying run is Ibar. Runners at second and third and 1 out. And Jake Marisnick, who has caught everything in sight, unable to come up with this one.
This might go back to some of the issues that the Astros outfielders were having back in Oakland. You put some speedy guys in the outfield, there's a lot of room to cover here in Anaheim. There's some miscommunication in Oakland, and now I think you're seeing some of the repercussions of that right now. Marisnick calling it off, gets to it. We don't know, maybe the lights got in the way, I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, it was just full-on clank right there. It has led to a couple runs.
So the infield's going to come in for the Astros now. 1 out.
He just closed the glove too early. You see him calling it. It didn't look like his eyes deviated at all because of the lighting here at Anaheim.
2 hits, a big error, a run on the board, and the Angels have runners at second and third, top of the order, with Cole Calhoun at the plate. 1 for 2 on his night. Calhoun has done nothing but take until he's had 2 strikes. But now with a pair of runners in scoring position, he might alter that game plan.
This isn't the electric crowd I was anticipating from Anaheim. I mean, they should have been able to hear each other out there, too.
Soft line drive into center field. That's a base hit. 1 run scores. And the throw to the plate. 2-run score. Holding at first with a 2-run single is Calhoun. And the Angels have taken the lead 5-3 here in the 5th inning.
So you want to be a big league manager. Got to deal with the highs and the lows right now. Some errors costing the Astros a couple runs, and a big base hit from Cole Calhoun, who's having himself a pretty darn good year.
Well, that error obviously huge in the inning. Tom Lawless has seen enough. He goes to the mound. That's going to do it for Brett Oberholzer. As now De Leon will be summoned from that Astros pen. But the Angels now on top 5-3 here in the 5th inning.
Level 2. Start with a quote from Esurance and you can save money on car insurance in half the time. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Houston Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is presented by Mayweather vs. Maidana 2. Live on pay-per-view September 13th. Order with your remote or online at Xfinity.com/boxing. And by Brake Check. Every 4th oil change is free, even on synthetic. What a change in this ballgame. 5-3 Angels lead and are still batting here in the 5th inning. Jake Marisnick with a huge miscue in this one.
We talked about the communication, and watch Jake Marisnick's mouth and watch the arm. He puts it out. I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. And you got to catch it. Maybe just took his eye off it a little bit, but full deflation afterwards. That's one thing we have not seen from Jake Marisnick thus far since his being traded over here from Miami. And Brett Oberholzer, tough luck. Real tough luck, because his line is not all that bad.
Well, the actual down on the field I thought was exceptional tonight for Brett. And yet, like you say, when it's all said and done, he's in a position to lose it here this evening, and very unfair it feels. Jorge De Leon in his 2nd outing now at the club. Facing Mike Trout, never easy. Calhoun aboard, had that big 2-run single. Mike Trout has a double driving in a run. Number 104 on the year for Trout, who leads the league. Trout with a big swing. 1-2. Giancarlo Stanton leads the major leagues in RBIs with 105, but he's going to stay right there after being brutally beamed right on the cheekbone, it appeared yesterday.
Some kind of frightening to watch that.
The 1-2. "32 big home runs for Mike Trout, and Brett Oberholzer can only sit and wonder what might have been this evening." 4 1/3 with 5 hits and 5 runs. Now a 3-2 count. See if Calhoun is on the move. De Leon working with Jason Castro. De Leon is not a pup. He's 27 years of age. Runner does not go. The pitch drilled to the gap in left center. And this one's going to go to the wall. Here comes Calhoun. He'll come to the plate. He'll score easily. Trout digging for third and is in with an RBI triple. Mike Trout, his second hit of the night. 5 total bases, second RBI. And the Angels now have doubled the score, 6-3.
It's not your average human running, by the way. 3-2 count. Fastball down where Mike Trout loves it. Squared it up. Shot it in that left center field gap. Cole Calhoun's going to score easy. But what is more impressive is the linebacker size of Mike Trout making it into third base on what should be a double on normal people.
He can flat fly. There's just no question. Angels trying to break it open after not having a base runner through the first 3 innings. Infield drawn in. Albert Pujols at the plate. Pujols 0 for 2 on the night with a strikeout. Caught looking in the 4th.
Another RBI for Mike Trout. We look back and then just enjoy a skill that you can't teach. It's a big man rounding those bases right there.
Pitch is popped up on the right side, foul territory. Castro coming over but doesn't have room.
Cole Calhoun run being charged to Brett Oberholzer.
Ball and a strike on Pujols. By the way, triple number 8 for Mike Trout. Pujols fouls it back. It's 1-2 on the machine. C.J. Wilson started for the Angels, chased after 4 1/3. 4 1/3 struggling innings. Gonna make that 5 on the night for C.J. But he's in a position to pick up the W tonight now. That infield still in. Pitch line to right field. Marisnick back to make the play. Tagging and coming to score. That's run number 7 for the Angels. 7-3 as Mike Trout crosses the plate. RBI sac fly for Pujols. Pujols gets it done with 1 out. And now with 2 outs, Howie Kendrick comes to the plate. And that pitch apparently called high. For Albert Pujols, his 8th sac fly on the year. Mike Trout leads the Angels in that category with 9. 2-0 the count. Does it feel at times to you, Blummer, like Brett Oberholzer has been a guy that's been snake bit this year?
Yeah, and some of the numbers actually back it up. Namely, the run support that he gets. He's the lowest in that starting staff at 3.39 per game. And it's just odd that, you know, some of those, you know, the ERA isn't, it's not astonishingly good, but it's reasonable, you know, 4.51, but he's not a guy that you play behind and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, we're going to be out here like a C.J. Wilson and get stuck on our heels and maybe make some errors. I mean, he's pitching to contact.
Line shot into left field, base hit for Kendrick. He's 1 for 3. 2-out single brings up the 9th hitter of the inning in David Freese.
The last 8 games, including tonight's game, it's been 72 runs now.
Gotcha.
For these Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Just looking back on some of their results, pretty impressive stuff. 7 runs, 8 runs, 14 runs, 12 runs, 9, 8, 7. 7 here tonight.
Very impressive stuff. And we talked earlier about that offense of the Angels, how it has come to life. And they're the leading scoring team in the American League, as that slider was apparently called low. Runner goes from first. The pitch, a strike. The throw down not in time. A stolen base for Howie Kendrick. That's the first for the Angels tonight. So Kendrick in scoring position now for Freese, who has a 1-1 count.
Pretty good catch and throw by Castro. Good
Yes,
pitch to handle, too. Watch the tag from Altuve. Slap it down. Woo-wee. A lot closer than it looked originally.
Stolen base number 14 for Howie Kendrick.
Oh, he might have got him getting him right there.
It's very close. That was a good throw by Castro. Just the 5th inning. Game that's over 2 hours long. One and 2 now on Freese. The Angels at 4.88, just below 4.9 runs per game on their season. Fly ball deep right field. Marisnick going back at the track, the wall. This one gets out of here. Opposite field bomb for David Freese. 2 more runs on the board, and now it's 9-3, Angels on top. How about that for some impressive opposite field power?
Freese has got it, too. The handful of times that we've seen, more than a handful of times we've seen him play against these Houston Astros, he's done a good job of going up the middle and the other way. For whatever reason it is, he knows his strengths, but I think he's also using that strength with some of the pitches that he's seeing. Slider hanging up, out over the plate. And you can just see that head down and everything behind that barrel going the other way. He just drives it. That's not easy to do. Not at all.
No, it's just unraveled for the Astros here in the 5th inning. 7 runs go on the board for the Angels. And you go back to that fly ball drop by Jake Marisnick, which would have been the second out in the inning. Very big play. 8 Angels hits to go with their 9 runs. Line drive going to drop another base hit for the Angels. 10th hitter of the inning. Ibar delivers for the second time in the frame and is now 2 for 3 on his night. Bring up the catcher, Chris Iannetta.
That's how good it's going. You just drop down to a knee and do whatever you want. It's going to land for a hit. 2 hits in the inning for Ibar. Wow.
Eric Ibar is a name that's not well known, but a very good shortstop for the Halos. And now Iannetta, who takes a strike. So again, the Angels at just under 4.9 runs a game. That leads the league, and now it's starting to be a fairly sizable lead. Detroit, Oakland, Toronto follow in that category as Samuel Deduno gets loose in the Astros' pen and left. Hard to believe, but the Texas Rangers, along with Tampa Bay and Boston, at the bottom of the heap in runs scored this year in the American League. Sometimes it's fun to be a manager, sometimes not so much. Tom Lawless has brought what feels like a nice, pleasant atmosphere on the ball club. The guys seem to be very happy playing under him. The guys tend to be happy when they're playing on a winning club.
I say wins, winning is a cure of all evil. Especially some of the teams they've been beating on this pretty good run they've been on, winning 4 straight series. Started with that 2-game sweep at home here in Minute Maid against the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles.
Pitch in the dirt. Moving into second base now is Ibar. A wild pitch. That left knee stayed up for Castro, and the ball just scooted under. Two and two the count, 2 outs. 7 runs in for the Angels here in the 5th. C.J. Wilson was informed he wasn't coming out for the 6th inning. High pitch count got him tonight. The Angels were trailing 3-2, but here in the 5th inning with Wilson watching, the Angels have provided a great shot for Wilson to pick up a W. Popped up right side. Castro comes over. Has room and drops it. Tough play. And we'll see how this is ruled. Kind of been one of those innings here.
Hasn't it, though?
No play.
Not an easy play, and I'm sure if you ask Castro, hey, I got a glove on it, I should make that play. But here at some of these ballparks, you can see the screen doesn't, it goes up, but not all the way up.
So the Angels stay alive. And that pitch away. Close, but no call. Walk to Iannetta. That'll bring up C.J. Cron. And the skip, Tom Lawless, comes out once again. He's already gone to the bullpen once here in the 5th inning, and he'll do it for a second time.
To grab a little. Welcome to Reliant. How can we help you?
It is the bottom of the 5th. The Astros are behind 9-3 to these Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. In 2015, Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Get the best value and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS to reserve your seats now.
Yeah, the Angels fans having a good time right about now. 9-3, the Angels on top. Samuel Deduno comes in, product of the Dominican Republic.
This will be the first time Astro fans get to watch Samuel Deduno pitch.
Pitched with the Minnesota Twins parts of this year and each of the 2 previous seasons. He was 2-5 in 30 relief appearances, 8 starts, or 30 appearances overall, 8 starts this year with the Twins. And the breaking ball finds the strike zone. Cron with an 0-2 count. Samuel Deduno can't get it together with Jason Castro. Eventually steps off. Cron just stays in the box. Mercifully here in this very lengthy 5th inning. Slider grounded sharply, but right at Matt Dominguez.
Monday, September 22nd, followed by the premiere of The Blacklist on NBC.
Welcome back. It's 9-3 Angels over the Astros, top of the 6th. Follow all the pennant races with MLB.com at BAT, the #1 app for live baseball. Get this award-winning app for your smartphone or tablet for the rest of the season for only $9.99. Visit the App Store on MLB.com today. We want to wish Pat Listash, third base coach over there, a very happy birthday on this September 12th. Well, I guess you could do the math. I wasn't going to say the age, but you could do the math.
Hey, thanks, Julia. Yeah, happy birthday to Pat Listash. He's got some prominent folks on his birthday menu today, huh?
Neil Peart, drummer for Rush.
You're going to go right past Yao Ming and...
Yeah. Sorry, I mean, I know they're
George
heroes,
Jones.
But good grief. Neil Peart. I'd share a birthday with that guy, but I can't.
Well, keep on trying. It might get better.
Go down to City Hall and see if I can work that out.
New pitcher on now for the Angels.
Could go to the Dominican and get that worked out, too.
Probably could, along with some other things. Mike Moore, the right-hander, comes on now to work for the Angels here in the 6th. So, again, C.J. Wilson in a perfect spot after 5 innings. Navarro is now the first baseman as he takes over for C.J. Cron. So we go to the 6th inning. Heading toward 2.5 hours into this ball game. It has not sped along, but the Angels right now don't care. The Astros had the early 3-0 lead. It went to 3-2. There's Efrain Navarro at first base. But 7 runs in the 5th inning taking care of business. The Angels, by the way, now have had 8 consecutive games in which they've scored 7 or more runs in 1 inning. That is a hefty streak. One and 2 the count. Jonathan Villar leading it off as the count evens.
Per game.
Oh, per game, not innings. And I had that conversation with the Angels broadcasters prior to the game about 7+ runs scored in an inning in a streak that they've had. And that's why that went to my head.
Yeah, I mean,
down on strikes, Jonathan Villar.
His totals are unbelievable.
They've had a big string of could be 5+ run innings that they've been stringing together. 7 strikeouts now of Astros hitters. 1 out for Robbie Grossman. Robbie turns around and bats left-handed. He's 1 for 3 on the night. RBI single in the 2nd inning. Also reached on an E6, that in the 4th inning, and scored the Astros' 3rd run. Robbie also picked up a stolen base in that 4th inning. The Astros have 3 stolen bases on the night. Unusual numbers when you're trailing 9-3. Popped up, third baseman Freese with the call. And the 2nd out here in the inning.
Time now for the AT&T Rewind. It's Jose Altuve. Picking up a couple more knocks, really going the other way against C.J. Wilson. Did a good job shooting that first one pretty hard. This one just a jam shot out in front of Cole Calhoun, who gives it his best effort. But when you're as hot as Altuve, those things are going to fall. Sitting at 202 right now for Jose Altuve. Just great stuff.
.338 that batting average with a 2 for 3 night. Slider grounded to third. One big hop
easy. This is how it's supposed to be done.
Catch Astros postgame live, presented by Jack in the Box on Comcast Sportsnet.
We're in the bottom of the sixth. Angels leading big over the Astros 9-3. We've got some information on a particular player that a couple of us around here are cheering for, and it's Matt Clark, 27-year-old rookie. Spent some time in Japan, came back to the States, got it done in the minor leagues, and he has proceeded to step into that first base role in Milwaukee in grand fashion, much to the delight of our wonderful sideline reporter, Julia Morales.
It's been fun watching him.
It's got to be. What a joy.
Very excited for him.
How's he doing? I know you've talked to him. Is he enjoying it?
He's taking it all in. The Brewers are in it, and every game's, it's like the Mariners. We just left them. Every game is everything's on the line, and so he's learning the major league way in the most exciting way possible, I guess you could say. But he's having a blast.
That's good to hear.
Marwin Gonzalez takes over defensively at second base, so Altuve's done with his night. Dedeno misses away. Ball and a strike as the 9-hitter Colin Cowgill leads off here in the 6th inning. And I will second that. A big congratulations to Julia and Matt Clark, and we are rooting for you. Slider chopped to third. On one big hop, Matt Dominguez throws him out. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Top of the order now. Cole Calhoun will come to the plate. To be followed by Mike Trout. Angels 9 runs on 9 hits with an error. The Astros 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. And the errors have been costly here this evening. That final line on Oberholzer, 4 1/3, with 6 runs, 4 of those earned against him. De Leon wound up with just 1/3 of an inning, allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of those earned. So not a kind night for the pitching staff.
My goodness, no. It's too bad, too, because we talked about in the open how well they've been playing as a team. The pitching has been good. The defense has picked them up. A couple nights ago, VR making some fantastic plays behind Colin McHugh to help him win his ball game. But when you got a young ball club, you're going to have a little hiccups. This one's a little bit more than a hiccup.
Well, the numbers for September had the Astros pitching staff best in the major leagues in ERA.
There you go.
So that's quickly going to be altered. Calhoun hits a ground ball, backhanded by Gonzalez, but doesn't have a play. And at the end of this play, looked like maybe that hamstring started to flare up again.
Well, I think maybe the hamstring is what hindered him from getting around this baseball. That ball was hit well by Calhoun, but I agree with you. The hamstring may have stopped Marwin from planting his feet and trying to make a strong throw back. Instead, just makes the catch and shuts it down. And it's tough, too. If you have a nagging injury and you're not in that starting lineup, you've gotten loose before the game, you sit down and you watch 6 innings, and then you've got to get it warm again. It makes it a little bit tougher.
Mike Trout at the plate. He's had a night, takes a strike. 2 for 3 for Trout after a strikeout in the first inning. He has doubled and tripled. He's driven in a pair. He scored a pair of runs. Two RBIs give him a league best 105.
Trout's taking care of that that double and triple on the cycle side. That triple sometimes is the hardest one to get.
8 on the year for Trout, so in his case,
not so hard.
About like the doubles column for me.
Come on.
Well, at this stage of things, that would be a really good year.
8 doubles? That'd be impressive.
0-2 the count. Deduno brings it. Pitch drilled into right center field. Coming on and over is Fowler to make the play. Second out here in the inning. It'll bring up Albert Pujols. So the Astros get Trout, but he stings it in the process. Pujols looking for his first knock of the night. He's 0 for 2, but he's driven in a run with a sac fly. That came in the 7-run fifth. 93 ribbies closing in on 100. You wouldn't mind hitting in the heart of this Angels order, would you?
Oh, my.
Night in, night out.
That would be a lot of fun.
Ultimately, you can have some 0 for nights where you drive in runs.
You could, that's for sure. Especially in these last 8 or 9 games that they've played.
Mike Foltynewicz now loosening in the Astros pen. That line shot quickly into the seats.
Now there's a great indication of what you've talked about, Ash, with the shift being on and a professional hitter in Albert Pujols trying to go the other way. He does not foul balls off over that first base dugout very often unless he's absolutely trying to go through that open space over where there's nobody standing.
We've seen already, to me, 2-3 times where the Angels have taken a shot in that direction and succeeded a couple of times. And down on strikes, or make that 2 strikes. 1 and 2 now on Albert. Not a good swing by Pujols. You look around, the Baltimore Orioles, your ball club, still leading by 10 games as we watch that swing by Pujols on what appeared to be a splitter. But Baltimore is kind of unraveling a little bit with injuries and now the suspension of Chris Davis.
Yeah, they should be able to hold on and make it into the playoffs, but it's once you get in there, that's when the worry kind of sets in, taking that big bat out of the lineup.
The appeal down to first base, palms down, coming back. Lance Barrett, that first base umpire. Yeah, I don't think there's any worries about Baltimore getting to the postseason, but it's really hard when you play 162 and you make it. You do what you plan to do coming out of spring training, and then you take your chances. But you take your chances with a ball club that's not the one you were counting on.
Yep.
Two-two pitch. Foul outside the bag. You know, the Yankees used to talk about anything short of winning the World Series was a bad year, and you can talk that way, and maybe it was true with some of those ball clubs. But I think reality for almost every team, and maybe every team, is that you do everything you can to get into the postseason, then you roll the dice and try to take advantage.
No, I agree. That's what everybody talks about. Yeah, you talk about winning championships, but in order to win that championship, you first have to get a ticket to the dance. Once you get that ticket, then you're doing everything you can to scratch and claw, get those wins.
Julia talking about the Brewers and the way their season is now coming along, and they've still got a chance. They've seen a great season get away from them. They start the day 4 games back of first place St. Louis in the National League Central. The Pirates are in between. But that's what the grind is all about, is coming up with that ticket to the dance that you refer to. And now a balk has been called. So jogging into second base is Cole Calhoun. National League wild card as we speak. Rather intriguing. Pirates, Brewers, and Braves.
Oh my.
Now a 3-2 count on Pujols.
I think that NL West pennant's going to be interesting too. You take it for granted that the Dodgers are playing extremely good baseball, but the Giants are only 2 games behind them and winning that National League West. Yet 3.5 games up in that wild card, so could be interesting too. You want to try and play your way out of that. Wild card's nice if you're a fringe team trying to sneak in, but if you have an opportunity to win a division, that's what you want to do and avoid that one-game playoff.
Dodgers and Giants, by the way, starting up a big series in San Francisco. So the 2-out walk to Pujols has runners at first and second, and it brings up cleanup man Howie Kendrick.
It'll probably be fun to watch. Big rivalry on the West Coast.
Nine 9-3 Angels on top. I think Jason Castro just got crossed up for
again.
I would hate to count the actual number of times on the season.
How long before he just goes to one sign, no matter who's on second base or where the runners are at? I'm just going to put down one sign because I am so sick and tired of getting crossed up back there.
Or holler out, cambio.
Whatever it takes to get on the same page. Oh, yeah.
And apparently there was something the two forgot to talk about just a moment ago.
We take much more time. I'm going to have to start telling some old Lou Piniella Tampa Bay stories.
You and Lou got along pretty well, right? You guys still...
I'm not going to tell those. I've got other ones. I can't. No, those are post-game.
So where are you going to go with Lou?
Well, it might involve me a little bit.
1-0 pitch taken for a strike.
Some of the funnier ones is I played with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time in 2004. We were scuffling a little bit, but you come back with an 0 for 2, maybe a couple punch outs, sit down on the bench, and Lou Piniella would come over to the bat rack, pick up one of your bats and kind of swing it around, and he'd go, "Oh, for crying out loud, son, no wonder you can't hit."
Another strike taken.
Throw your bat back in the bat rack.
So you'd have your bats evaluated during slumps, huh?
It was great. Yeah, you had to have some thick skin to play for Lou Piniella. It was a good time.
That slider's in the dirt. Nice job by Castro. 2-2 the count.
He also liked calling me Toby Hall. Toby Hall was a catcher with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time, and I believe he was in Houston maybe for a spring training. Great guy, good catcher. We had similar hair, and that was about it. But he would constantly pull me out from out of the batting cage. Toby! And I just look at him like dumbfounded, and he'd just go off on this rant. You got to do this, you got to do that. And I finally had to start cutting him off and going, Lou.
So his assessments,
Toby.
Were they based on what he had just watched you do in the cage, or what he had been seeing Toby do in the ball games?
On what he saw in the cage, and he insisted that Toby was the one taking those horrific swings that I was taking. I should have just let him go with it.
Runners go on the 3-2. Ball is driven to center field. Fowler going back, and he won't get there. It's off the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes a second on the double by Howie Kendrick, and the Angels just keep adding on. 11-3 Halos here in the 6th. Second hit of the night for Howie Kendrick.
This offense is absolutely lighting it up. They're taking tough pitches, borderline pitches. Anything that's left out over the middle of the plate or anywhere in the vicinity of arm's reach, it's going to get whacked.
Calhoun was there to advise his base runner Albert Pujols, and he advised getting down. Pujols blew it off.
That's when you know you're going good. Even your mistakes work out.
So a pinch hitter now, or a pinch runner rather, at second base, as Kendrick is done with his night. It is Grant Green, the pinch runner. So he'll take over likely at second base in place of Kendrick. Strike is called. Samuel Deduno not having a lot of luck here in the 6th inning. Angels put 2 on the board in the 4th, 7 in the 5th, and 2 more here in the 6th. And that'll do you pretty well on any given night. 11 Angels runs. David Freese 1 for 3 on his evening. Pretty good chance of getting to the 3-hour mark in the 7th inning. It has been a long one. Ground ball's foul outside the bag. Lumber, didn't you have a teammate that got released by Tampa Bay and eventually playing for another team?
No, that was when Lou was in Seattle. Had a rookie outfielder in Raul Bañez. Really wasn't fitting into what Lou Piniella was trying to do out there in Seattle, and he goes to the GM and says, hey, is there any value in this kid? Is there any way we could get something back and maybe move him? Turns out he trades him to they trade him to Kansas City. And that was early in the year. Later on in the season, they go through Kansas City, and Raul Bañez is absolutely lighting it up. Doubles, base hits, scoring a couple runs, has a big series against Seattle, and I don't know if it's on a flight home or a phone call, but Lou sits down and says to the GM, goes, for crying out loud, that's the kind of guy we need over here. We need to go out and get somebody like that, a Bañez kid. GM says,
Use your help. Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.gorentforwomen.org.
There's a fountain here at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, and on the other side of that fountain, right outside that hole there, the Angels are having some fun. They lead 11-3 as they picked up 11 hits on the night. Defensively, they make a change, do the Angels. Grant Green takes over at second base as he came on as a pinch runner in the previous half inning. And the Astros now got to make some noise here in the 7th inning. They'll send Fowler, Carter, and Castro spots to the plate. Dexter Fowler, 2 for 3 on his night. So Mike Morin still on the hill. He took over for C.J. Wilson, who went 5 what felt like rather ineffective innings, but he got out allowing just single runs in the 1st, 2nd, and 4th innings. First offering away on Dexter.
I mean, it looks like a win in the column for C.J. Wilson, but you look at the numbers on it. Still had 3 walks, gave up 7 hits. Only 2 of those runs being earned, but the amount of pitches he threw in 5 innings is what's incredibly impressive.
Would you not agree that it was rather ugly when it was all said and done?
But that's what we've seen, is just kind of working on the edges. 108 pitches, only 61 of those strikes.
Jake Marisnick, who you just saw, has had a night offensively, but committed an error in this ball game, a big one. Pop fly on the right side. Dexter's retired. He's 2 for 4, 1 out here in the 7th. Got to bring up the cleanup man. Chris Carter, he's the DH tonight. Carter has been walked intentionally twice in between a strikeout victim. And C.J. Wilson did strike out 6.
You can endear yourself to your bullpen mates going 5 and dive, throwing 108 pitches.
Now, the offense for the Angels didn't start until the 4th inning. In fact, they didn't have a base runner until the 4th inning.
Yeah.
But when you score 11 runs, that'll kind of be forgotten. And what guys will remember is that the starting pitcher, C.J. Wilson in this case, lasted just 5 on a night when you scored at least 11 runs.
Yeah,
I mean, you know how it goes.
You're exactly right. You're saying that line score is going to look awkward when you see the amount of runs scored. You expect the guy to be a little more aggressive and last a little bit longer in that game. Yeah, I think you're exactly right.
Carter with a 1-1 count. And the Angels used 8 pitchers yesterday, all members of the bullpen. Is that the day before yesterday?
Yeah, it'd be tough to do yesterday.
The Angels?
The Angels used 8 pitchers yesterday?
Yes.
Or the Astros? I apologize.
Angels, yeah.
I misheard you. Well, Socha did the same thing in Minute Maid Park. You look at that roster, they called up everybody they possibly could on that 40-man roster. I think they have 36 total on that protected list, and they're all here. That bullpen is extensive.
Yeah, the Angels had their bullpen day yesterday. Here's a shot through the left side with the shift on. They leave the straight-up shortstop position open. Carter takes advantage. He's 1 for 2. A 1-out single brings up Jason Castro.
Treat your employees, host clients, or bring out your church or youth sports team to Minute Maid Park for a ball game. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today.
So 1 out for Castro. Hit number 8 for the Astros. Navarro, the first baseman, will play behind Carter. And Chris has been showing a bit of a running game recently. But again, with the Angels yesterday, it was one of those bullpen days, as they've had injuries in their starting rotation that have hurt them considerably. Garrett Richards went down, and the guys yesterday were covering for the Garrett Richards spot. 2-0 the count on Castro.
This guy right here, Michael Morin, got the win. 7-3 win for the Angels at Texas.
Slider on a 2-0 with an 11-3 lead in the 7th inning. Unusual.
Sign of respect.
I played on teams where that would have been a sign of something other than respect, I think, at least in the assessment of some managers I played with. Two and two now on Castro. Jason's 0 for 3 on the night with a couple of strikeouts, one looking. Right-hander Vinny Pastano now throwing in the Angels pen. So Mike Morin may be trying to get through this 7th inning. And a 3-2 count. Again, nobody holding Carter at first base. 1 out. He does not go, and Castro fouls it off. First of 3 between the two ball clubs. Final 3 on the season series, 19 games overall. And the Astros are going to have to do some huge work here this evening offensively to get back in this one. "3-2 once again. Got him swinging. Breaking ball on the 3-2, so Castro down on strikes 3rd time tonight. That's 2 down and brings up Jake Marisnick. Skip's coming out. Mike Scioscia is going to remove Mike Morin. And so he gets a couple of outs around the single to Carter. And the Angels go to the bullpen once again.
Get 0% APR for 60 months plus 2,000 special edition cash and a new 2014 Tundra Crew Max Texas edition for a savings over $6,500. Toyota. Let's go places.
Angels on top, 11-3. We're in the top of the 7th inning. A couple of outs, and Chris Carter aboard at first base as right-hander Vinny Pastano has been summoned from that pen.
Making his 19th appearance. And has that drop-down sidearm action to him. Coming here and get some work. Pick up for Michael Morin. Probably be some guys coming out of that bullpen for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim to get some work in this game where the Angels have gone nuts. Speaking of nuts, what is going on in the AL wild card, for crying out loud? Detroit's back on top in the Central after beating Cleveland. The Royals drop back into that wild card race. 1 game behind Oakland. I guess they're tied because the Athletics lost today.
Yep.
My fault.
Mariners winners over the A's. Well, let's go through some of these ball games.
So there's a 3-game tie?
Just the way you like it.
3-way tie. Good grief.
So, let's see. Pitch is popped, foul to the seats down the right side. 1-2 the count on Jake Marisnick. Jake started out very well tonight. Had a couple of hits his first 2 at-bats, drove in a run, stole a base, but then he committed a costly error in right center field, dropping a fly ball. Seattle Mariners were 4-2 winners over the visiting Oakland A's. The Oakland A's have just, I don't even know if scuffle's a big enough word to describe their recent play.
Yeah, I think they might be just sitting on the panic button over there.
A's had 6 hits in that game. Seattle had just 7 in winning it. Fly ball right field. Back.
The first half. Join us tonight on Sportsnet Central for that as well. And now back out to Orange County.
Welcome back to Angels Stadium, where the Angels lead the Astros. And as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. And tonight it is going to be Randy Schultz and Corpy. Look at these guys talking shop at Safeco Field. Nice picture there. Tweet your photos to hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T. Guys.
Thank you, Julia. We've got a number of changes for the Astros now as Alex Presley takes over defensively in center field. So Fowler is done with his night at third base. Gregorio Petit takes over from Matt Dominguez. Mark Krause is the new first baseman now for Tom Lawless's Houston Astros. Max Stassi is behind the plate as Jason Castro gets the rest of his night off. And then on the hill, one more change. Mike Foltynewicz will take over here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Quite a bit going on as you look at Mike Foltynewicz's numbers on the season. Last time we saw Mike was up in Seattle on the 8th. Took the loss up there. Chance now to get in here and work on things.
So Beckham is now the pinch hitter for the Angels. Gordon Beckham. Angels picked him up from the Chicago White Sox. This is Eric Ibar's spot in the order. So Gordon Beckham, who has 8 home runs on the year, he's driven in 43. Combination between the Angels and White Sox. Pops one up on the right side. Max Stassi coming over. Stassi with room will make the catch. One up, one down here in the 7th. It's Ianetta's spot. And Sean O'Malley is the pinch hitter now for Iannetta.
What in the spring training is going on here?
Well, the Angels have a 37-man roster. And
picking up more every day.
I guess that's an opportunity to play like spring training. So that's what we've got. Scoreboard still has Iannetta at the plate, so we can do it any way we want.
The gun here in Anaheim just said that pitch came in at about 100 miles an hour.
And with Mike Foltynewicz on the hill, there may not be any flaw with the gun.
O'Malley looked into the dugout and said, "Thanks, Soch."
It is Efrain Navarro waiting on deck. He's in the 8th spot. So O'Malley batting in this 7th spot now. "11 runs, 11 hits for the Angels." Fastball chopped first base side. Krause will kick it. And that'll be the 3rd error on the night committed by Houston. Just a routine ground ball. But Mark Krause unable to come up with it. They'll bring up Efrain Navarro.
Hasn't been the cleanest game. I think the guys that control the audio here at Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Stadium playing some circus tunes now, which could be a little offensive if you're an Astros fan.
You know, you don't often hear those on the big speakers, but you'll hear them from players in the dugouts. Fly ball center field, starting back and then turning and coming back on to make the play. Presley. That's 2 down here in the 7th inning. It'll bring up Colin Cowgill, one of the Angels who has survived the lineup to this point.
I think that thing right there would be full tonight, the way things have gone for the Houston Astros.
But it started out so well, and Brett Oberholzer retiring the first 9 he faced. The Astros had a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the 4th inning, and then a couple of runs. But then they got to the 5th inning. 7 runs went on the board for the Angels. They added 2 more in the 6th inning. Folty with that breaking ball misses. There's been a lot of talk about Mike Foltynewicz just simply coming up with a breaking ball that he can command and throw in for a strike, and how that would help him in his ascent to becoming a true quality major league pitcher, whether it's as a starter or a reliever.
Look at Josh Fields out in that Astros bullpen. Done a great job finishing up strong here. He's got a good fastball, had the breaking ball, but that changeup, that 3rd pitch that he's able to throw for a strike, has really turned the corner for him lately.
Crucial pitch, especially for a guy that has a big-time arm. And as good as Josh Fields' arm is, you can add to that what Foltynewicz can do. Line shot right center. It drops in front of Presley. Heading for 3rd base and making it easily is O'Malley. 1st and 3rd now, 2 outs. And now another pinch hitter for the Angels.
It'll be Tony Campana.
Tony Campana. Alex Presley took an immediate route backward and to his left on that line drive. That's 12 hits now for the Halos. Tony Campana hitting 161.
You got a headache, Ash.
You getting there?
Oh. Man, I need
There's
another.
your changeup.
How about that?
Johnny Mack, John McDonald waiting on deck. A ball and a strike. Campana batting here in the 7th. Again, a 37-man roster for the Angels. We are in September. Either that or it's extended spring training going on. Mike Scioscia, the guy again who yesterday utilized 8 pitchers. Garrett Richards day in the rotation. Garrett Richards is done for the season with a knee injury. And so they do not have a 5th starter. They've been using a committee out of the bullpen. And now Scioscia using some of that bullpen tonight, as well as guys on the bench. Curveball got him. So down on strikes.
Weaknesses, and even knowing when a certain ET slides home. Astros pre- and post-game live on Comcast Sportsnet.
Done. Boom.
11-3, Angels lead over the Astros. We go to the 8th inning. Altuve's pursuit of Biggio continues on the West Coast as he and Scott Feldman take on ace Jared Weaver and the Placentia Angels of La Mirada, of course. Pre-game live starts Friday night at 7:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
That's an expansive area to cover. Tomorrow's pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. They want you to care for your car. It's going to be a couple of veterans going after it. Scott Feldman for the Houston Astros at that ERA under 4, looking to continue that downward movement on that ERA. Some big numbers against LA. Wants to change that, but Jared Weaver doing himself quite well this season, going for that 17th win. Got some okay numbers against those Houston Astros. He lost last time they faced each other up in Minute Maid Park.
Jairo Diaz now takes over on the hill for the Angels. And just another member of that 37-man roster for the Halos. They've got a number of changes defensively. O'Malley, who came on as a pinch hitter, is now in left field. Left fielder Colin Cowgill moves to right. Gordon Beckham's at third base. He was on as a pinch hitter. Campana, the pinch hitter who struck out, is in center field. John McDonald's at shortstop. John Buck is doing the catching. And I think we've touched them all.
Yeah, that's a lot going on there, Ash. Well done.
Tomorrow's spring training game will come from Jupiter.
It's a good place. It's a great place to be. I was lucky enough to be with the Montreal Expos when they were up in West Palm Beach, and then eventually moved to Jupiter and shared that complex with the St. Louis Cardinals, and that was a beautiful place.
Yeah, the Astros could find themselves in a couple of years down in that part of the country, that part of Florida, for spring training. 2-0 the count. Gregorio Petit with a bat. This is Matt Dominguez's spot in the order. And the count at 2-1.
I'm going to take your word for it, Ash. Their scorecard has just gone to...
Yeah, mine's there too, and I don't need a lot of help in that regard.
Are you bragging again?
2-2 the count. You can call it bragging. I would probably choose another term. Mark Krause waits on deck. Let me see what you got. Oh, that's much cleaner than mine.
Dude, I don't even know. I haven't even written in the Angels lineup. I don't know what's going on there.
Petit swings through it. And down on strikes to start the 8th inning. 1 out, brings up Mark Krause.
Well, if you had any trouble finding us, here we are.
It's right here.
It's not so much over there as it is right here.
From here
this is what
to
you call a yard sale.
Yeah, 1 out here in the 8th inning, and there goes the score sheet. So Blum tries to act like right now was the moment when he was done keeping score on the night. It actually took place a long time ago.
You are absolutely correct.
Mark Krause, his first plate appearance, takes a strike.
That one hit triple digits. You see that? I'm on top of this game now. That was 100 miles an hour.
So we've had 2 pitchers hit 100 miles an hour here tonight. One, of course, Mike Foltynewicz. And Jairo Diaz apparently has a pretty good arm. And the Angels have been on the lookout for a good arm to fit in their pen with the other good arms. Or great ones.
Say phenomenal.
Mark Krause was charged with the E3. You think that was harsh scoring?
I was just impressed he got in front of it.
It's a 2-2 count on Mark. Well, it hasn't been a pretty night. The Astros charged with 3 errors. And
we have been spoiled.
Yes, the Astros have been playing great baseball. Make no mistake. There's Mike Foltynewicz, who has hit 100 miles an hour tonight. Has picked up a strikeout. Curveball in the dirt, bounced, appeared to be out in front of the plate, and down on strikes is Krause. 2 outs here in the inning as John Buck lobbed a one-hopper down to third base to start them throwing it around the infield. That is 10 strikeouts now of Astros hitters. I know, because I still have a score sheet.
Yeah, I've only got 1 on my sheet right now.
Just 1? Okay.
I gotta figure out how to use my iPad now.
Jonathan VR is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Oh, you can't fool me with that one. You're a master over there.
Got some happy fingers over here.
Jason Castro struck out 3 times tonight in 4 at-bats. Yeah, the strikeouts have been confined to a fairly small group of Astros hitters. Carter struck out once. Dominguez, Petit, Krause now. But a couple guys with 3 apiece. Chris Carter with a base hit on his night. 2-1 the count. 98 miles an hour, so he takes a little off and misses away. Two and 1 the count. Little tapper foul, and now VR with 2 strikes on him in that precarious spot where you can take your sombrero and turn it golden.
Not good to have those 3 Ks and then have to come in and face a guy throwing 100 miles an hour.
That's not kind at all.
But it's just one of those days.
Lays off a tough pitch down and in.
See a little slider at 89, 90 miles an hour.
Say tough pitch because with a couple of strikes you see fastball down and in and you think, I've got a hack, and that bat gets started early. Diaz gets the one he likes. Ground ball up the middle, backhanded at second by Green. His throw in time, and he gets the speedy VR. Nice play at second by Grant Green. to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Angels lead over the Astros 11-3 in the first of 3 here over the weekend. Two clubs in their seasons against each other. And now the Astros go to the bullpen once again here at Angels Stadium of Anaheim.
Just outside of Los Angeles.
Yes, it is. Jake Buchanan will take over. I heard there was a Galifianakis sighting tonight.
Man, this is his doppelganger right here. Jake Buchanan making his 13th appearance.
Yeah, both left and right-hand hitters hitting over 300 right now against Jake. Final warm-up toss. He will face the 2, 3, and 4 spots. Those will have no bearing on the way the ball game started in the original lineup. John McDonald is the man that will start this 8th inning. He bats in Mike Trout's spot. 39-year-old veteran infielder and a great defensive player. Just spectacular. Struggling with the bat, hitting 153. And you wonder, will John McDonald be a part of that 25-man roster as the Angels get to postseason?
Can't discount experience. John McDonald has a lot of it, and he is a solid glove, even at his age.
That's the thing, if you're Mike Scioscia in this case, you still got to put a roster together that accounts for all the possibilities now as you go into each round of the postseason. McDonald swings through the slider.
He can handle the bat too. He can play some of that
can.
Small ball, the hit and run, the bunt situations, but if late in the game or if somebody blows out and you need a play made, it's going to be John McDonald.
I've talked about it. I had the pleasure of watching him play a number of years in Toronto. You played with him. Quality player. And again, when you really talk his side of the game, defense is what's kept him around this game. And you're not talking about a guy that's good. You're talking about a guy that makes other players stop and say, wow.
Probably got some of the quickest hands you'll ever see in baseball as far as turning double plays and getting that ball from his glove to his bare hand.
The Astros and Angels are the only thing still going in Major League Baseball.
Sound surprised.
It's a final in Arizona, 6-5. The Padres win over the D-backs. We mentioned Oakland falling at Seattle 4-2. The Mariners win. And are the Oakland A's going to get to postseason ball? They spent much of the season this year with the best record in Major League Baseball.
And how about the run differential they had there early on too? It was amazing how well the pitching was going along with that offense they had.
Well, here's a surprise. I believe the A's rather are still leading in that runs differential.
Really?
That's a note that
these guys right here are making a run at that.
They lead the league in runs scored. And yes, I would think they would be really close in that regard. McDonald hits it on the ground to short. VR is there. Good strong throw and out number 1. And now in the 3 spot of this order, Luis Jimenez will grab a bat. So Luis Jimenez, right-hand hitter, comes to the plate. Hitting 154, batting for Albert Pujols. Oh, and 1 the count. Well, it is truly very much like a spring game where you start getting insertions of guys that you just haven't heard of at all. Jimenez, though, has a couple of RBIs and has scored a pair of runs for the Angels. Slider hit to short. Again, VR. And again, that strong throw, but offline. Nice play by Kraus to get the out.
Here's our Mako big hit of the game. It was off the bat of Angels Anaheim hitter David Freese in that 5th inning where they scored 7 runs. This was a big one. It's that hanging slider. up, out over the plate. We've seen Freeze throughout the course of the season against the Astros really elevate the ball towards that side of the field. And he did it again tonight in that big inning that pushed those Angels right past the Houston Astros.
So Grant Green at the plate, his first plate appearance. He takes a strike. These Angels appear to have turned into the Oakland A's in that it doesn't matter what the score is, they are going to take pitches.
Stick to their game plan.
Oh, and 2 the count.
Definitely seems to be that mentality. Take until you get a strike.
Cole Calhoun and Mike Trout. Calhoun in particular is a guy who I would take a guess as strike 3 is called, and it's a 1-2.
Sausage breakfast sandwich. It's the smoked sausage you crave, now spicy. America runs on Dunkin'.
Houston Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is presented by TXU Energy. Get TXU Energy free nights, free electricity all year long. Now with even more free hours. Call 1-866-CALL-TXU. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. As we go to the 9th inning with the Angels on top 11-3, the Angels go to their bullpen once again, and they turn to the bedrock to finish things out.
He's making his 14th appearance. Long line of Angels pitchers. Or actually, you know what? We've had it all wrong all night long. They're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, according to the fans here.
We got straightened out early on with that one.
I apologize for that. So Bedrosian looking to put his slant on this game.
By the way, one game that had a lot of bearing in the National League has been completed. It was a blowout as the Giants defeated the Dodgers 9-0. The Dodgers started the night two games in front of the Giants, so it's a one-game spread now. Dodgers on top of San Francisco 9-0. The Giants won that one.
Ryu taking the loss in that one. Battle of lefties. He left after an inning. 4 earned runs.
Sounds like an injury there.
It's not good.
Robbie Grossman leads off here in the 9th inning. 1 for 4 on the night for Robbie, an RBI single in the 2nd inning. The Astros took a 2-0 lead with that base hit. They added one more before the Angels got the bats going, and it's been all halos since. 2 Hopper to second, Green with the play, and out number 1. Texas defeated the Atlanta Braves 2-1. That's painful for the Braves. Milwaukee Brewers stay alive. They down the Reds 3-2. The Boston Red Sox Stop Kansas City 4-2 in KC. Talk about painful as the Detroit Tigers take over first place by a half a game over KC.
Boston still having an effect on the pennant chase.
Yeah, they are the reigning world champs. St. Louis Cardinals win 5-1 as they host the Colorado Rockies, and the Cardinals are not letting off the pedal right about now, although they had lost 3 in a row before today's game. 2.5 game lead over second place Pittsburgh. Pirates winners today over the Cubs 7-3. Yankees shut out by Baltimore 5-0. Tampa Bay pulls a difficult act. A shutout over the Blue Jays in Toronto 1-0.
Wow.
Air conditioning must have been blowing in tonight. The Tigers a big win 7-2 over the Indians. And again, that gives the Tigers a half-game lead in that American League Central. Mets win over the Nats. Yankees fall to Baltimore in the second of 2. And that one took 11 innings. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, those are always a blast.
It doesn't appear that we'll go extra innings here this evening.
Time-wise, you never know, Ash.
I know where your heart is.
Yeah, you do.
1-2 on Marwin Gonzalez. First plate appearance for Marwin tonight. Jose Altuve went 2 for 4 on his night. Hot shot is fouled down the right field side.
Nice play by David from Aliso Viejo right there. Johnny on the spot.
That's
high fives all around.
That's not Craig? Right
no,
there?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. Dave was the guy last time chasing down all those beach balls, if you remember.
By the way, Jose Altuve with the 2 for 4 night, hitting .337. 202 hits on his season. And now 3-2 on Marwin. Foregone conclusion, Altuve wins the hits title this year. Will he win the batting title?
It'd be disappointing to have one and not the other.
Three 3-2 pitch. In the batting race, Jose Altuve .337. Victor Martinez second at .335. Adrian Beltre hasn't bowed out yet. He's at .326. So it's intriguing stuff.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on.
And ball 4. Marwin draws the 1-out walk. He's aboard for Alex Presley, who bats in Dexter Fowler's spot.
Yeah, Vimar went 2 for 4 tonight.
And you got him at .335?
Sure do.
Okay.
You are correct.
So that's how it lines up. Robinson Cano is 4th at .323. Those would seem to be the names involved in it. First plate appearance now for Presley. Cam Bedrosian on the hill has a 1-0 count. That fastball down below the knees, but fouled off by Presley. Ball and a strike. Guess who had 4 RBIs for the Tigers tonight? Think left fielder
J.D. Martinez.
J.D. Martinez had a big night.
Another homer, didn't he?
I believe so.
I   .
Off speed, misses away.
He had a 2-run homer and a 2-run triple. It's a good night. If you like stats.
Yeah, if you're into taking a personal good night back home and helping your club win this time of the year, pretty good.
Do that for a contending team, you're going to get noticed.
Really an impressive year for J.D. Martinez. Got a chance, took advantage of it, and he hasn't stopped running. And now a 3-2 count once again. So Bedrosian struggling here in the ninth. About the 3.5-hour mark.
Using every minute of it.
Have you folded up shop yet?
Yes.
Line shot into right field. Alex Presley has a solid base hit. Stopping at second is Marwin Gonzalez. And the Astros making a little noise here in the ninth inning. LJ Hose is going to grab a bat. He will pinch hit now in the ninth inning. Batting for Chris Carter.
Batting for Chris Carter, number 0, LJ Hose.
Are you surprised, Blummer?
Yeah. We haven't seen LJ in a while.
So an opportunity for LJ. Takes a slider right through for a strike. John Buck might have gotten crossed up the way his body came up, and now he comes out to the mound.
It's not just because he misses Cam and wanted to have a couple words.
Well, that happens on occasions, usually not in the ninth inning, I wouldn't think, but I'm open to all possibilities.
Plenty of post-game talk to be had.
You going to hang around for that?
I am not.
Wife and daughters await. Ball and a strike on LJ.
A big soccer match tomorrow.
LJ got in a ball game and scored a run on the 7th of September. That at Oakland. So part of this road trip came on as, I believe, a pinch runner in that game.
Yep.
Good swing as he fouls it back. It's amazing how time changes things. 1 year ago, LJ was doing a nice job with the team and putting himself in a position where it looked like he was going to vie for one of the starting spots for Houston come the start of the 2014 season.
My, how things have changed.
Yep.
1 year later, the outfield mix is quite deep.
And quite different.
Yes.
Nice job by John Buck. But that's September 7th game, the only time that LJ has appeared in a game since joining the team. Hitting just 175. Another good swing, fouls it off. 2-2 the count.
Starting to get around on those heaters.
You know, it's kind of one of the cliches in baseball to get the starter out of the game and bring in the bullpen, but statistically that's not a wise choice anymore. Down on strikes, LJ Hose. Now, I was looking at some of the numbers recently about starters and the batting average against and bullpens and the batting average against, and it may not be wise to get the starter out of the ball game early.
Yeah. Saw that in Seattle with some of the numbers those guys were bringing out of that bullpen.
11 punch-outs of Astros hitters. Down to an out here, 2 outs in the 9th inning. Angels have had their way. Max Stassi, his first plate appearance. Not a good year on the AAA level, but there are still a number of believers in Max Stassi. People who believe he's not only a fine catcher, but that he'll swing the bat well.
Came over in that Chris Carter, Brad Peacock.
Correct.
For Jed Lowry move. Had himself a good game up there in Seattle, catching Nick Tropiano. Be a future battery.
Tropiano getting his first win in his first start. 2-1 the count on Stassi. It's always that badge of honor for a catcher who goes out and plays and catches a winner. Two runners aboard, 2 outs here in the 9th. Cam Bedrosian brings it. It's just good heat thrown by. And now down to a strike. And a lot of the Angels faithful coming to their feet. Their feet? It would be feet.
They've got multiple.
Yeah. Most of the folks have already headed home. And a strike Stassi. That does it. 12 strikeouts of Astros hitters. They leave a pair in the 9th inning. And a final tonight. The Angels win it 11-3 in the first of 3.